If you run a company or manage a team, hiring qualified people quickly can make or break your business. Imagine a position of need going unfilled for weeks or even months because you just can't seem to find the right candidate. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. This makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results on your job post. Just in the last minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Now that is fast. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Listeners will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Go to Indeed.com/BWN right now to support this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Well, I think for our cold open, Pitt Girl has something for the class. What did you get, Pitt Girl?
I have the lemonade chips.
Okay, these are Utz lemonade chips from Hanover.
From Hanover, yep.
Hanover, PA.
Beth found them originally at a convenience store. And obnoxiously, Pitt boyfriend this morning was like, I'm going to go to the grocery store. Do you need anything? And I was like, yes, I do. I need the lemonade chips. And he asked admirably few questions about that after I was like, look, I got to do it for the podcast. So I have listener, because you can hear I want to get some good bag twinkles in here.
Oh, yeah.
Listener.
There we go.
This is an unopened bag of the Utz lemonade chips, and we are going to find out together what they taste like.
Here we go.
Love it.
Considering our correspondent has put his body on the line for us, I feel like this is the least you can do.
Yeah.
Right? We got to pick up the slack in some ways.
What's the smell like?
I'm smelling them. They smell a lot like Utz chips normally do, but there is like a little bit of a lemon scent.
A potato chip bouquet.
Like lemony fresh.
Yep, and looks like a normal chip.
Okay.
Crunches like a normal chip. Yeah.
Great audio.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, I don't hate this.
Okay.
Yay!
All right.
It's not as sweet. There's like a surprising amount of sugar in these if you look at the nutrition facts.
I bet.
Not as sweet as you would expect based off of that. It's sort of like a salt and vinegar chip, but it's very lemon rather than like vinegar flavor.
Huh.
I'm not going to buy another bag, but I don't hate them.
Well, you
What
finished.
we're saying here is this is like the step one of the future chip, which is going to be the lemon pepper wings chip.
Yes.
Ooh,
I would eat those. I would eat
that.
those.
I would go for. Yeah.
Yeah.
TM. That's pissed.
Somebody's already had to make those. Like that had to be made by like one of those wrapper chips that like Master P had.
Wrap snacks. I forgot about wrap snacks.
Yeah, you know, Lil Boosie and
those made it here. I saw those in the grocery store when they were popular, and the aisle was stocked. And 2 weeks later, the aisle was still stocked. Nobody touched them.
Yeah, the only place that I ever saw those was Spencer's Gifts in the mall. So
Yeah.
they have
about
food at Spencer's Gifts in the States.
no, literally just wrap snacks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The only
They
thing
have-
I've ever seen at Spencer's Gifts.
They already had them. HEB's got lemon pepper wavy chips. Lay's had lemon pepper wings. So sorry, Joey, you're behind
Damn
the
it.
time. You didn't TM
Damn
it
it.
fast enough.
Damn you, Lay's Corporation. they've already screwed me over by bringing all dress to the States, but in Lay's form instead of Ruffles form.
Ugh.
Oh, you guys are getting done dirty.
Lays.
You need the Ruffles all
That's-
dressed.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, they
we
were
need
just
to-
not the same. They were
No.
100% not the same.
Or the President's
they're
Choice
not even
loads
close.
of all dressed.
Mm.
President's
Kinda,
Choice
yeah.
loads of all dressed.
Ripple chips. Now that you say it,
Yeah, like my mother-in-law brought us back some all-dress chips from Canada from when she went to BC just for a day trip for the kids. They liked them so much better than the Lay's ones.
Rightfully
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Clearly, they have excellent taste.
Yes, they do.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sickles Committee Podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of June 1st, 2025. Happy Pride, everyone.
Hooray!
yay!
Woo!
And tonight is our big CFL preview. We have special guest John Fraser is back with us, and we're adding in Joel Gasson. Did I get that right?
You did. Surprisingly, yes.
Awesome.
You're surprised how many people get that wrong.
We will let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll get into CFL stuff. As always, I am Jordan. With me tonight, I have Commish, Pitt Girl, Brigit, Joey, plus our guest, and Arthur on the ones and twos. Brigit, how are you?
I'm good. I am here after one of those weeks where you have like something going on every single night of the week and you're just sort of unmoored in time. Last night
Yep.
was Star Wars night at the ballpark, which was our second time there this week. So we got to go to a baseball game with the Mandalorian and a Stormtrooper.
Love it.
They made
Joey, how
little
are
kids
you?
build Lego.
Joey,
Sorry.
how are you?
I'm good. I just woke up recently. I've got the great swing today where I worked until 5 a.m. this morning, and then I go back at 4 a.m. for another shift. So, you know what? I'm locked in. This is the middle of my day. It's 10 p.m. Let's go, girls.
Hey,
Dun,
girl, how are you?
dun, 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 dun.
It's the
Uh-huh.
Canadian episode. I had to bring some Shania.
Love it.
Hey, girl, how are you?
It's Sunday. I'm not going to say happy Sunday because that doesn't work on Sunday. But, you know, I had lemon chips and they're not terrible.
Here we go. Commish?
I'm great. It's just a fun weekend. A lot of my in-laws came into town, but I didn't have to see them. So
The
I mean,
best
I can thank my 8-year-old for getting a fever, and we had to take him to urgent care, but he's fine today, which is good. And you know, but yeah, I got the like skirt out of that one. So
Just leaning over in the waiting room like, hey, that was clutch. Nice work, kid.
I was like, I hope you feel better soon. Which, I mean, the fever broke, and he finally took Motrin because he refuses to take medicine. But fine, we got the fever broke. We watched. I had like we didn't watch any movies. We watched the beginning of like Welcome to Wrexham.
Nice.
And so he was a
nice.
big fan of that. And then I was like, just don't repeat those words that Ryan Reynolds and Bob McGuinness. I mean, they drop F-bombs right away. I'm like, oh god, and it's just like,
Wrexham moving up to the English Championship this year.
yeah.
You gotta tell them that those words don't work for you until you're like 15.
Oh, that is brilliant, Pit Girl.
Locking
Like-
that one away.
Yeah, I am taking that one and taking it to my kids. And don't feel bad, Commish. I let my boys watch Die Hard every Christmas Eve, and I just say, listen, if you say the words that are in there, Santa ain't coming.
Yeah, Joey had a fever when he was 9 years old and got to watch Slapshot.
There we go.
Were you
My
in the
dad
one
was
in
just
the
like-
disasters episode where the kid said, "Welcome fucking home, mom"?
No, but I'm sure I said something equally bad around that time.
That one's always, I've never seen Slapshot, but that's just in my head as like, oh yeah, the kid watched Slapshot and then just started swearing and swore at their mom when he came home.
Well, we'll start with our first guest, John. John, introduce yourself to our listeners. Reintroduce yourself to our listeners.
I'm back. I clearly scraped at the bottom of the barrel once again are my fellow sickos. Saskatchewan Rush color commentator, co-host of the 3 Down Greencast, 3 Down Nation, and up here out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That is how you say it, as I hammer on fellow broadcasters all the time. It is Saskatchewan. It's like we're winning, which hasn't been the tradition of the Roughriders, but that's how you say it. But thrilled to be back. I'm so excited for tonight.
Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Okay. Not Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a win, not a won. And
win, not a won. Okay.
Like for like friends and neighbors and people that just like you hang out with, I'm like, hey, it's cool. But like when I'm watching the Saskatchewan Rush on specifically, and I'm not trying to start another trade war here, but specifically on American TV, and I hear Saskatchewan, I just quote tweet now. I just vague tweet. It's Saskatchewan, and I hope somebody picks it up.
It's unfortunate because we can't say it anymore, which was you say Saskatchewan, and that's the only they win in relation to them. But you can't do that anymore because they're good.
Right.
John, we're still fighting with TSN to get them to say Zach Collaros, right? So I mean, you might be fighting an uphill battle there.
Listen, they finally started saying Chase Fraser right for the Buffalo Bandits, so I've won that one.
Okay.
Don't ask them how to say Brad Gushu yet, though.
Right.
Joel, I am Joel Gasson. Yeah, I'm Joel Gasson. I am, I guess, the co-host as well of the 3 Down Greencast. They call me the brains, I guess, of the operation. John is the looks. And I've been writing for 3 Down Nation for almost 10 years now, which is hard to believe. Before that, I was a radio guy. Originally from Ontario, was in news, got moved into sports. And the only sports team really to cover around here on any sort of significant scale was the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So that's pretty much how I fell into this gig, more or less.
Sounds good.
Well, we became best buds at training camp and decided to start a podcast.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. It would have been 2013.
Yes.
The first time they were up there. So I think that's when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah. When I first met Jordan, it was at the ULM Texas game. And that was the same day. That was the same day that Iowa crowned their Iowa touchdown. And we started a podcast after that. So,
it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. The 7-3 game with 2 safeties and a field goal for Iowa. And we had to create a podcast to talk about that.
We were trying to talk about the CFL touchdown at the Rider preseason game on Friday, which would include a rouge as well. So we were trying to figure out like the correct math on that.
Okay.
So you'd think of like it is the Canadian Field Goal League, so 2 field goals and a rouge is probably the CFL touchdown, right? So
that's the great thing about the CFL is you can make 7 in so many different ways.
Yeah,
it's almost like playing cribbage.
It's
one of my favorite thing is just the most CFL score ever. Like you just see the weirdest scores, and then I especially love when I see them in other levels of football. Like you see it in college in the NFL or something. You're like, and I'm always just like, that's a CFL ass score, and I love it.
I can't remember what I came across earlier. I think it was literally like San Diego Presbyterian or something. They were up. The score was 11-5 at one point, and I tweeted that out. I was like, CFL score.
Oh yeah, 100%,
100%.
The 5 is always the sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Commish, why don't you tell our listeners why the Sickos Committee is having a CFL preview? Why do we love this sport so much?
So in our history, we've done the CFL and USA podcast where we had Shutdown Fullcast member Ryan Nanny on the podcast as a guest. And we broke down the entire expansion of the CFL into the United States. And the CFL overlapped with our spiritual home of Shreveport, the Shreveport Pirates. So as our location on Twitter and Blue Sky, what we put as our home is Shreveport. So there's always been a spiritual connection to the CFL. On top of watching a whole bunch of football games, I've grown into the CFL over probably, I would say, maybe the past decade. I finally adopted a team, I will say. So I am Saskatchewan Roughriders.
That's right.
Because
That's right. You took my suggestion and I love it.
I had to after they won that one game, I think in week 4 last year, it was just like, okay, yeah, this like week 3 in like improbable fashion, they shouldn't have won this game. I was like, this is my team. Like,
that sounds about right.
I think it was like 30.
I don't remember. I have the worst memory for games, but that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 30 to 27. And I'm like, how did they win this game? They shouldn't have won this game. And I'm like, this is my team.
It was the Edmonton game, right? It was the game against Edmonton where there was like a late special teams blunder, and
the guy forgot the rules.
Yeah. He forgot.
That was 2 years ago.
The rouge.
He did.
That was in the Craig Dickinson era. That was a few years ago now.
That was a few years ago, which is, I mean, again, so we like to preview the CFL. It's got weird rules that we love. Like the rule book is incredible. We love the rouge. Because I mean, anytime you can score a point and break everybody's brain in America on the internet, which it doesn't take much to do that nowadays anyway. But when you can have like a walk-off rouge with like, what do you mean they won? He missed the field goal, and everybody is like really confused, and we just sit back and love it. We love that. Also, you can have a walk-off punt single rouge for the win, and like to end
the punt out is the best situation ever.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you could have, there's so many incredible rules that we would love to see them in college football. There's a lot of parity in the CFL for the most part, too. And then also, it's the ultimate remember some guys league on top of that. So it's just like, hey, man, you remember this guy? He was cool in college. Yeah, he wasn't good enough for the NFL, but he is lighting the shit out of the CFL here. Like, he's been playing for like 15 years, throwing for like 75,000 yards. I mean, whatever. But it's just, you have like those dudes that you're just like, they're still plugging away in the CFL, and you find them and you love them and you just want to keep following them. Like, I think the quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell, like he won a national championship. Won a national championship for like Eastern Washington in 2010. He's still playing in the CFL. Like, it's just like
a CFL quarterback factory that is Eastern Washington.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Sky 10
playing is a strong word for what Bo Levi Mitchell has been doing.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Travis Lulay.
Right?
There's like a whole bunch of dudes, and then on top of that, like what I really got into it is when Caleb Evans from ULM was taken by the Ottawa REDBLACKS. You got to say that.
REDBLACKS.
REDBLACKS.
Say it loud.
That's
yes.
it.
Capital letters.
REDBLACKS. But he was the backup quarterback, and then he got thrown into action, which, I mean, you know, it's tough in the CFL. And then he set like a record for rushing TDs because he was the quarterback sneak master. It was like the CFL tush push before the brotherly shove or whatever they call it in Philadelphia. But yeah, it's a lot of things that brought me to this, and the committee has fully embraced it. It's so much fun to watch. It is a blast. And it's on during the summer when you're like, man, I need some football, and the CFL is there for you.
Yes.
I shouted ULM mentioned at Caleb Evans at the Grey Cup, and he did not hear me. Or at least he pretended to.
So, John or Joel, why don't you tell our listeners what makes the CFL different than American football? What do Canadians do differently in your football rules?
Well, the obvious one is the one less down, right?
3 downs.
Another one, you start a yard off the line of scrimmage. Okay, so you watch in American football 4 down, everybody's like breathing on each other. If they wanted to, they could smooch each other. In Canada, you got that yard of distance, so you don't smell the other guy's smelly equipment, right? Our field is bigger. Our balls are bigger. Are the balls still bigger, Gas?
No, I don't think they ever were.
We just
they may have been at one point, but I think they're basically the same size.
Was that false?
But they look more like the college ball in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, they don't use that slogan anymore, though.
Yeah, they don't.
They should.
It
was the best era of Canadian football. Was the radically Canadian era?
Yes, it really was. Yes, and we all want that brought back. You will notice that as we are all kicking enthusiasts, you will notice while watching the CFL, our field goal posts are lined up with the goal line, which means you have interesting situations where you have to go in and around the goal markers in the end zone, which, by the way, is also 20 yards long. Unless you're in Toronto, it's kind of an ish.
Unless you're in Toronto, Montreal.
Yes.
Montreal's corners are a little weird. Edmonton's used to be. Yeah.
So, bigger.
So, yeah, the end zones are bigger. How much depends on where. Which is kind of nice. It's like a home field advantage. It's kind of baseball-ish.
I was going to say, this is very baseball. It's like, generally it's like this, except for, there's this big wall here for reasons.
Well, I would be down for football teams being like, you know what? This is sort of like you have to have 110 yards on the field. It has to be this and this. Otherwise, do whatever you want. Make it your own, right? Like, why not?
I would love that. And there's even parts in like the Toronto end zone that it's like, because TFC and they need their real grass and stuff like that. There's some random patches of turf. There's random patches of grass, right? So it's also super chaotic because of our timing rules. They are a little different than the NFL and college. Mm-hmm. They're closer to college than they are the NFL, right? It's not easy to just go up a couple scores and run the game out. And one CFL analyst who, if you play the drinking game, you play the Glenn Suter drinking game. If you're watching down on CBS Sports Network, A, you will die. B, you have to drink every time he mentions, Canadian football. A game can be 45-11. And 3 minutes left. It's not over until CFL, somebody can come back. 3 minutes. It's the wildest 3 minutes of sport. Then they'll drop. And you have to finish a drink when he mentions how many games have come down to the final 3 minutes. So all in all, it's like all of the best things about football, but more chaotic.
Yeah, you can't run out the clock. You can't do it. If you're up by like a score and there's 2 minutes left in the game, you can't run out the clock. You can't do it. So the other team always seems to get a chance, which creates more chaos, more fun. And I love the fact that the CFL has the 3 downs, but they have a 3-minute warning instead of a 2-minute warning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's like everything just like slightly off from the American game. And it's just enough to confuse the crap out of you. But once you know the rules, you get it.
Oh, and you can run. You can run before the snap. So pre-snap motion's unlimited.
It's kind of like arena football.
Yeah, that's a very arena league.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question about rules before we get into the actual stuff, because people always ask about this. Yes. What is the rouge?
It's a single point that is awarded in a variety of ways, either by kicking the ball, either on a punt or a missed field goal, or now a kickoff.
Yes.
No, the kickoff has to be conceded in the end zone, right?
It does, yeah.
They've changed that a few times. So anyway, the ball has to sail through the end zone essentially all the way through, or the returner has to concede the kick in the end zone for there to be a point. Even in Canada, it's still a fairly controversial rule. There are some people who like to see it gone. There are some people who like to see it tweaked, and there are a number of people who love it as it is. So it is always a topic of conversation up here that really gets people worked up one way or the other. And obviously, because it confuses American football fans, it's great. So
in Canada, instead of who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, up in Canada, it's like rouge or no rouge.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's a great way to find out
amongst Canadian football fans. Absolutely,
I would watch.
And this is not a new conversation.
I would watch Canadian First Take all day long.
Except it's funny.
Social media actually, produce programming. Yeah.
If we were called back, and that's why
I was gonna say it used to be called the Reporters.
Right,
and they killed that.
Mm-hmm. Or off the record.
There you go.
Off the record.
You had it. Yeah,
off the record with Michael Lansbury. Yep.
Yeah. They've been killing around the horn in Canada since the 2006.
Yeah. They've really killed it. Where the closest thing you get to a daily Canadian sports talk show is on the Game Plus network by a Canadian semi-expat who actually I do like his play-by-play, Rod Peterson. He now basically is only in Canada to retain his Canadian citizenship, but spends the rest of his days in Florida. So that is all we get for daily Canadian sports talk. Other than that, we get all your programs.
Sportsnet runs a few of the radio stuff on TV, but yeah.
But Toronto doesn't care about the CFL the way the rest of the country does. So you're never going to have a scalding hot take on the Rouge. Instead, it's just you're going to like Gasson and I both play in a charity golf tournament organized by CFL fans every year. You get 40 of us in the room. There's some Rouge takes. There might be a scrap or two in that room.
I will say shout out to Jim and Gord from Gridiron Nation who had Commish on earlier last season on TSN.
That was
Jim's good. Jim's good stuff.
I'm on Canadian TV. Like, what's going
on? I watched that live on TSN 2, baby.
It's like I'm on Canadian TV. Like I've been on Five Bomb for college football, and then my next TV I did Kay Adams, and then my next TV appearance was was Canadian TV, and I'm like, I love it. I'm worldwide. I'm international.
On brand.
You're sick as Mr. Worldwide.
Right? you and I are almost in the same boat because for whatever reason, when TSN plays the Saskatchewan Rush games, they bring in their own crew and I get bumped. However, I was on ESPNU 4 different times this year. So apparently I'm good enough for the biggest media market in North America, but not good enough for Canada.
Oh, ridiculous.
As Commish mentioned earlier, it leads to the situation where if you're tied at the end of the game, the goal is just to kick that thing out the back of the end zone. Yeah, sometimes you'll see people miss field goals and still celebrate, which drives people absolutely insane because it goes out the back of the end zone, touchdown. Rouge single, we win.
Shout out future Hall of Famer Boris Bede.
That's Joey, you beat me to it.
Sicko's favorite.
Yeah, he booted one through the end zone. And it's funny, it usually takes a moment like that to reignite the conversation. Because you could tell, specifically talking about that play, like Boris Bede was just kicking the piss out of that ball. Like he wasn't caring where it's going, as long as he doesn't hit. Because the other
which is what he's good at. So
exactly, if you hit the uprights, it's no point.
The worst possible doink.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The worst doink ever. I wonder, have we ever had a doink rouge?
Yeah.
No,
it is illegal.
No, the ball's dead. The ball's dead as soon as it hits the upright.
So doink rouges are not.
So even if it deflects off and out, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
To TSN's much dismay, you can't go bar down in Canadian football.
That's good. I don't need any more Jesse Pollock in my life.
The field goal's still good, but the rouge isn't. It's
I
a
think
weird
the other thing that blows people's minds is the 20-yard deep end zone. Because they see that in so much space.
So
and because you have your whole playbook available, you're no longer having to run goal line packages.
In theory.
You can run whatever. Because you've got 20.
In theory, you do. CFL offensive coordinators don't like to do it, but yes, they can.
They'll still line up and try to push for one.
Coordinator brain shit.
Coordinator
Why?
brain. Yeah. We're close.
I don't know.
Good guys.
Yeah.
We talked about this in our CFL USA episode where American coaches would come to CFL and be like, well, I guess we're just starting on second down. No, you got to just think of it like football. You can't just...
Right?
Yeah, you're not trying to be like, even in American football, you're not trying to be on fourth down, guys. Like,
what about remember the legendary Bart Andrus quote? Joey, you might be the only one that remembers this. Commish, maybe you. When they asked him what's different, he got hired in Toronto, and they asked him what's different. He goes, "Well, you can punt on any down."
Yeah. Commish just did a retrospective on Bart Andrus' career recently.
No way!
I did a YouTube video where I wrote a series on our Beehive, and I'm keeping journeyman coach stats, like how far they move between job to job to job. And my first episode on the YouTube was Bart Andrus. And like the big photo thumbnail is Bart Andrus's like insane hairline. As he's the Argos coach.
Yes.
It's just, and then like, I mean, his career is insane. He's back in Frankfurt, I think. Now,
yes, it's Frankfurt. I just looked it up. Yeah.
It's just like it's his career's over like 30,000 some odd miles traveled just to be a head coach, or just a coach. Period.
There's a few CFL legendary coaches over there too for some reason.
Yeah, in Europe right now, yes.
In the Europe, yeah. Let's go coach in Europe.
Yeah.
Adam Rita's over in the Italian tier 2.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Adam Rita's over there.
A side note on that: did you see today, Commish? I know you saw it. Augustana University, the D3 school, played a exhibition game against the Lazio Marines.
Marines, yes,
a top tier professional football team, and leveled them.
They're gonna go. They're going to Greece.
USA.
They're going to Greece.
USA.
And they're playing another game against a Greek football team. They're going to Athens, I think. Athens,
unbelievable.
Athens, Georgia.
I mean, this is the closest answer we have to could the best college team beat the worst professional team? I guess.
Apparently so. In the Italian league.
More debate on Canadian First Take up next.
That all just makes me so excited for when the World Games this summer, when we're getting flag football again, the preview for the Olympics. It's in Chengdu this year in China. Very excited to see how Team USA does in that, because now flag football is going to be in the Olympics in 2028.
2028 flag football and lacrosse as well.
Yeah.
So it is. I finally have sports. Well, and of course handball, right? Like basically
handball,
flag
course,
football, lacrosse,
yeah.
handball is all I'm going to be watching during the 2028 summer games.
And then during the World Games this summer, you can watch korfball with us.
Yeah, korfball.
Love korfball.
Well, what about? Have you seen this one? The Gasson and I, we literally constantly Instagram each other. Have you heard of Pesmapalo?
Yeah,
we love Pesapalo.
Yes.
Finnish baseball is the best. We've been on that since like 2021 when they.
Every now and then, Commish and I, we both have the video saved to our phone.
Yes.
Whenever we have nothing to post that day, we just post the Pesapalo fielder diving into the creek.
It's like, why do they have a camera in the creek? I'm like, that's why.
Why not? Yeah. Content,
If you went through Joel and I's like DM conversation, it's nothing but like that German show with like obscure like challenges in sports and Pesapalo highlights. Like,
John, next time the World Games are in Helsinki and they add Pesapalo, we're going to start Team Canada.
Yes, we are. Okay, done.
The three of us right now. We're going to be the founding cornerstones.
I am surprisingly fast for a fat guy, so I feel this might work.
So, guys, can we sort of give a quick recap of what happened last year in the CFL? How it ended up?
Games were played.
Yeah.
The Argos.
Absolutely.
Games were played. That's what I remembered. Toronto Argonauts beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Grey Cup when Zach Calero sliced his hand in two, and Mike O'Shea kept him in the game for some reason. And
turns out you need a hand to be quarterback. Don't tell me.
I know.
Wild. Yeah, weird.
His hand?
Yeah, he had stitches in like his ring finger.
Okay, in his throwing hand?
His throwing hand.
In his throwing hand.
Yeah.
He kept him in the game.
And he already was
glove,
not good
right?
before that. Yeah, he had the glove.
No.
Okay, he had a glove on the sliced hand.
After he sliced his hand.
Yeah, no, he wasn't bleeding all over the ball. No.
Okay. No, but I mean, like, okay. I'm trying to remember.
It's not like a Ronnie Lott situation.
He loses his pinky. Yeah. Okay. So he sliced.
I think he hit it on a helmet, right?
And then.
Yeah, it was on a pass rusher's helmet.
Okay.
Yep. And he was already like really bad that game, as he has been in several Grey Cups.
But so was Nick Arbuckle.
In big games. Yep.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't understand why you would have put in a quarterback with a sliced open ring finger that had stitches in it. Mike O'Shea has been an incredible coach, might go down as one of the best in CFL history, but I'm not still bitter about this. I'll tell you that.
John's never.
And then he went out there and
I don't bring it up all the time. No.
The most ghastly interceptions I've ever seen.
Like, it was like it looked like me at the end of a flag football tournament in my days on Lloydminster. Like, I was just gassed, and it was terrible. It was not a great experience, and somehow my Blue Bombers have gone from the New England Patriots to the Buffalo Bills.
No, wrong.
No, they have still won titles at least. They've won titles because they faced the one team more cursed than they are.
Right, we're talking about them being like, okay, they're the next New England Patriots, and then you go out and they poop their pants last 3 Grey Cups.
Okay, so they're the 49ers? Or they're Kyle Shanahan?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
They are. That is a fair one. But
I can go with that one.
Riders were good again, which is terrible for our listenership.
You get more listeners.
Losing is good for business.
Yeah,
thanks.
Losing is good for business.
Okay,
so many more.
Do y'all take like call?
Or we just talk about Curtis Rourke apparently.
Yeah. We had one episode pop off where we talked about how the Curtis Rourke pick was good, and I went on a rant about Zach Collaris' failed drug test. And my running joke has been the lawyers just have lots on me for slander now. But our numbers, when they're good, our numbers are way down. Like, I think Saskatchewan people are into like some BDSM stuff. They just want to hear the torture.
I mean,
when
as
I
a
worked
Pitt
in
fan,
radio,
I understand this.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's true.
When I worked in radio, I worked for the non-rights holder, and when they suck, the phone lines light up a lot more than when they're good.
More to say.
Everybody's just real kinky in Saskatchewan, I guess.
Not a lot to do there.
No.
Visitor loves company. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, true.
Something like that. So there's kind of your TLDR of the season. Lots of chaos. 2 ties in the CFL last year. But yeah,
we have ties in college overtime.
Yay!
I love the CFL OT because I didn't know it until it happened last year. I didn't know like the rule, and I'm like, oh wait, okay, so when they go 2 OTs, and if it's still tied after 2 OTs, they're like, they just call it a day.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'm just imagining that happening in college football. It's like it's 2 OTs and it's tied, and it's like, okay, it's a tie.
All right.
And
Imagine that Georgia Tech game last year. How much angst there would have.
I was just saying, that's a small riot, like at the very least.
That is not a small riot.
Well,
that is a large riot.
Clean old-fashioned hate tied after double OT, which is just so much anger. Like nobody.
I've covered a few ties. It is like the most awkward situation in a locker room you could ever find. Like in victory or defeat, you can usually come up with stuff to talk about, and like the players are like interesting stuff. After a tie, you're just like,
well.
So that was a waste of time, eh?
It was one season that I did a podcast behind our Patreon paywall. It was the 1991 Central Michigan the Chips. They had 4 ties that year. And they were like 6-1-4. And it was and the only loss was to the team above them in the MAC, so they didn't win the MAC. So it just like
they were 4 points away from a perfect season, and instead they were 6-win team.
Their coach was just like, like he didn't have anything to say. It's like, what do you say after a tie?
Right. It's funny.
Especially 4 of them.
Yes.
I've been a fan. I was at a Winnipeg Blue Bombers Edmonton football club match many, many years ago. And I don't know if you know this about going to a game in Edmonton. If you're wearing the other team's jersey, like here in Saskatchewan, I wear my Bombers jersey. You have some fun shit talk with the people around you. You have a beer at some point during the game. It's a lot of fun. Edmonton is not like that. Edmonton, you have some shit talk, and next thing you know, 5 other guys are there, and it's ready to go down. The only thing that diffused it was the tie, because you're shit talking the entire game, and then the tie happens. And you're like, you and your buddies are ready to rumble. Everybody's ready to rumble.
What can anybody even say at that point?
Right? You just kind of walk out real awkward.
I guess we both punch each other and leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for the tiebreaker, I guess.
Somebody's going to settle this.
John versus the fans in the middle of the ring. Let's go.
I will say that my favorite Canadian weird CFL rule is that for certain weather delayed games, if the point differential isn't far enough ahead, you basically like the next time the teams play, they basically play like a mini version of the game before the real game.
Yeah,
they do like a two possession like overtime game, and then come out for the real game. It's so good.
It's an MLB rule, but in the CFL, it's just really weird.
I haven't seen that applied in forever though.
Okay,
they'll just wait it out at this point, basically. And
shout out to Milt Stiegel getting almost hit by lightning.
Yes. So it is in the rule book. We haven't seen it because the day that it does happen, Joel and I will be blowing up all of your phones, being like, "Guys, it's happening! It's happening! It's happening! Here we go!" But they really try to like we've seen some comically late games and some comically delayed games because
often in Winnipeg.
Yeah, weirdly Winnipeg, Ottawa too. Where they just like...
There's a weird thing where every Ottawa home game, it rains.
Yeah.
In Ottawa if it's a CFL game day because it's raining.
Yeah, but if you ever go to a REDBLACKS game, you got to be ready to get hit with a tornado.
Sorry, Joey,
a tornado full of
what
brake
are you
rotors.
talking about?
Don't worry about it.
No, you said you're talking about Ottawa who?
The REDBLACKS.
The Renegades.
The REDBLACKS.
REDBLACKS. So what I'm hearing here though is that every CFL game for this team is that Iowa game. It like started back up at 1:00 in the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to that Nevada fan who was texting us from the crowd, going, "I'm the only one here."
And the guy who came back with his dog.
Yeah. The guy who walked his dog into the stadium.
Like,
"Hey guys,
the game's
what's going
on? I'm walking my dog at 1 a.m. Just might as well bring him in the Kinnick.
Why not? Watch the end of the game. It's great.
Why not?
Also, who walks a dog at 1 a.m.?
The dog had some place to be. Yeah. The dog wanted to see the game.
Maybe the stadium woke him up. I don't know.
That's fair.
I mean, that happened to us last night with fireworks. Like, there was a part of me that's like, I would just take my dog for a walk and, oh, look, there's a stadium. Yeah. What's going on over here?
I don't disagree. I live close enough to the to Griffith Stadium here in Saskatoon, where the Huskies, the U Sports, play, and occasionally they love their fireworks.
Yeah,
and you'll just hear them from where I live, and then if I'm not a couple beers deep, I grab the kids and go. And if I've mowed the lawn and had a couple beers, it's, oh no, the game's over. It's not starting. The game's over.
Yeah. But you can at least like stand on your lawn and like, oh yeah, hey.
Oh yeah, there's a game tonight. Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's usually what I'll do. Like I did that with the baseball game, and then sometimes I'll do that for football games. Like, oh, the Grizz won. Okay, cool.
Oh, neat.
Okay, Commish, we're previewing the teams this year. How are we going to introduce each team?
Ooh, that's a good question. So like last year, let's just say like the Blue Bombers and the Argos were in the Grey Cup. However, the Alouettes Montreal were the favorites in the East and the favorites probably to win it all, but they lost to the Argos in the division finals. The Roughriders and the BC Lions, along with the REDBLACKS, made the playoffs because there's a league of 9 and 6 of you make the playoffs.
That's right.
Of course.
Yeah. Playoffs.
With the potential
in
for
two
crossover.
separate divisions for some reason.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep it this way. I'm going to kind of we're going to do East and then West.
Okay.
The thing that I have, so we're just going to start East first, or if we can start West, I don't know. You want to start West or
do
East?
whatever you want. It's
Whatever. Okay. Doesn't matter.
You get the hard ones out of the way, and then
for once I'm not directing this thing, so it's great.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Joel. No one is directing this thing.
Nobody's directing anything.
Loosely termed, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say whatever we got to say here. And basically, the only thing I have noted on every single team is how many rouges / singles they had last year. So if you're looking for a CFL team, I'm going to let you know how many rouges / singles this team has. And if you're just interested in that, in the sicko nature of the 1 point, how many times they scored 1 point last year in a game, you can pick your team that way. So the first up, we have the Montreal Alouettes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Canadian Saints. Home of the Montreal steak seasoning. They had 4 kicking rouges by the field goal kicker and 6 punt rouges and singles for a total of 10.
That's a high rouge count.
It is a high one.
Mm-hmm. It's like they had John Ryan with them or something.
Who was universally loved but kicked lots of rouges. So Montreal, of course, as you mentioned, favorites in the East, 12-5 last year with a tie, 12-5-1. Let's not forget about that. Mm-hmm. Several reasons to cheer for them that I've got written down here. Okay, Montreal games used to be famous for these awful air horns. Think vuvuzelas.
Great air horns.
Yeah,
Gas. I
Great
respectfully disagree with you on this.
You're outvoted here, John.
That's right.
Again, we're here on Canadian First Take.
That's right.
About the air horns.
Which is ironic because Gas and I don't disagree about a lot, but the air horns are one thing.
I just assumed the air horns were just how you cheer in French.
I enjoy them in the NFL because it's kind of like, okay, there's some atmosphere here, and it's not necessarily like
it's a unique atmosphere. That's why I love it.
But it's like, hey, you're playing on the road in Montreal. You're gonna get this weird horn noise, and you're gonna get these weird corner end zones because they play on like a university. Like you would think Montreal, a big enough city, would have its own stadium, but it doesn't.
Shout out to Olympic Stadium, which is currently in the process of falling over.
Yes,
but here's the thing: Molson Percival Stadium is old, but it is beautiful. It is the Fenway Park of the CFL, and the Alouettes are perfect there. Never move and never upgrade that stadium. Leave it the dump it is with the beautiful scenery, and I will forever want to go there again and again.
Yeah. Well, and as well too, a lot of the Alouettes games are early because of this, right? Because Percival McGill is on a university campus. Mm-hmm. So
for the longest time, they wouldn't let them play on the weekends late in the season. They had like all of their games in September and October were on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. So right as you're getting into the meat and potatoes of it, but a good reason to cheer for them is as well as we are all approaching or over 40 here. It allows day drinking. We all know how essential day drinking
not Pitt Girl. Pitt Girl's nowhere near that. Neither is Joey. And neither is
Joey's even younger than I am.
Yeah, Joey's way.
Well, you
They're
you
still
children
capable of day drinking is the thing.
That's right. You can still you will learn.
Everyone loves a good day drinking.
We can day drink. The problem is after that.
Yeah.
Right? Like the rest of us are like, let's grab a poutine and go to bed, and they're still like, woo, club. Let's go.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a marathon.
That's correct.
As well, and this is a fun fact I actually figured out today. Did you know, and more sickos reasons to cheer for some of these teams that are going to be on our list, So week 1 starters in the CFL this year, there are going to be more FCS starters and U Sports than there will be FBS starters.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Yes. Starting with a change in, after going 12-5-1, Montreal gives the super kick to their starting quarterback, Cody Fajardo, who had
Cody.
Yeah, they did, and who had one of the greatest moments in like CFL history in the dressing room. They're going with Davis Alexander out of Portland State as their new starting quarterback. So you go 12-5-1, and you change starting quarterback. So I don't think there's going
Davis
to be
Alexander was a big part of that 12-5-1. Don't forget.
He was, yes. I mean, Cody was hurt, and Davis was very good. So 12-5-1, taking a risk. As Gas says, the Fenway Park of the CFL. There's your reason to cheer for the Owls. And I don't think anybody would call you much of a bandwagon hopper. They're kind of out of their glory days, but still consistently good. So
it's hard to be consistently bad for a long time in the CFL, but Hamilton figures it out.
Oh, Joey!
Until a couple of years ago,
all right.
Until a couple of years ago, it had been like 15 years or something since the Alouettes made the playoffs, which is like impressively difficult to do in the CFL.
Okay.
Which is why the city basically gave up on them for the longest time, and I couldn't blame them.
Right.
As opposed to those times they literally gave up on them. Shout out Baltimore Stallions.
Yeah.
Hey. All right.
One other thing I've included in this is a quick clip for each team. Okay. The most CFL moment in this team's recent history. I say recent history because I did not want to go out and find the clips from the 1956 Grey Cup, with apologies to a team we'll talk about later. So this is, I think, the most iconic CFL moment of all time. If you are American and you think CFL weird rules, you are remembering CFL at Montreal in 2010. Also known as the kickout game.
Yes. Mark Trestman mentioned.
Mark Trestman as the coach.
Yes.
Can I figure out how to share my screen? Yes, I can. I've done this before. I'm good at this.
There you go.
Okay, you got this. I will stop sharing my screen then.
Damon Duvall for the game winner. They want to kick this ball out. Noel Prefontaine is going to go back right now. They didn't have anybody in the end zone.
So one thing you might notice immediately is both teams have a kicker on the field.
They were going to put their kick-out team, which means that if Montreal misses and they don't feel the first option is you run it out, get it just past your goal line and kneel down.
This is for those on the audio feed, it is 30-30 with 9 seconds left. Montreal is about to try to kick the game-winning field goal. Toronto is only rushing like 9.
Here we go.
Because they've got 3 back in the end zone as Montreal misses the field goal. Goes nowhere near the kicker on the field. The wide receiver has to kick it out. He punts it back to the kicker, who kicks it back into the end zone. They try to kick it back. Mad scramble. Montreal recovers for a touchdown. So what was a game-winning field goal attempt ends with a game-winning touchdown.
I miss Rod Black.
I do miss Rod punts in American football.
Dueling punts. I don't understand the strategy here. Like, it was a 36-yard field goal and they intentionally missed it?
They did not intentionally
miss it.
Duval just shanked it. He just shanked it.
Okay.
Yeah. He just
kicked because he kicked it at full power. Like, he had the power meter on EA CFB 26.
And it was
the meter was going back and forth real fast.
Yeah.
And
it was in the Sky Dome when they actually put people in the Sky Dome. So he had the shaky meter too.
Yeah. So that is why you could see, and the receiver smartly blocks it from going out the back of the end zone.
So it was like a kick six at the end, but the kick six, he had to block it from coming in. But in the CFL, the ball is live. If you did that in college football, it's dead.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why you saw the second after it was kicked out of the end zone, the Montreal player tried to kick it back through the end zone on a punt. It didn't quite make it. So, I
also love Dwayne Ford screaming for no yards in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So there is no, because you can punt wherever, there's no fair catch in the CFL. There is the no yards halo, which is 5 yards, I believe.
Yes.
From when the punt is first touched, no defensive player can be within 5 yards.
Or they add 15 to the end of the return. It used to be 15 or the return. Now it's just 15 plus the return. So it's a fairly significant.
It used to be 5 yards if it bounced. Now if it's bounced or straight up caught, it's just 15 yards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Our next team up. Our next team up is the Toronto Argos, the Argonauts.
the Argos, the defending Grey Cup champions, they are kind of like, I guess, we could kind of compare them to being the Yankees of the CFL. They have the most titles, right?
I don't know. Which teams like covering? Is there a NFL team that likes covering up sexual assaults? Allegedly,
all of them.
All of them.
Oh, okay. So like,
there's a couple that are like very, let's say, vocal about the fact that they don't care.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cleveland Browns.
I was going to say, I was going to say the Browns spring to mind, but that
it's not one of the Browns, but it's just it's in the walls.
The Browns aren't
also,
good.
They don't win anything.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's like
the thing.
you have the winning.
Nothing.
You have the winning of the Yankees with the culture of the Browns. Allegedly, I better put that out there.
We gotta put that.
Allegedly.
The thing with the Argos also is they are in Toronto. Both major media markets, all three if you count CBC, both major media companies that would cover the CFL in any side form even are based in Toronto. Is CBC based? They might be based in Ottawa. No, they're based in Toronto.
Based in Toronto, yep.
And they play out of BMO Field now, which is at the old Exhibition Stadium. It's right in the middle of Toronto, and that can be a double-edged sword for them. Ask Mitch Marner.
I'm sorry. Did you say BMO Field, like the little video game console from Adventure Time?
Spelled the same. Bank of Montreal.
Okay. Oh, yes. But that's much less cute.
Yes. No, but I did just post it in the podcast channel because that's the first place that my brain went.
All right, let me get the rouge facts out of the way here.
That's
2
fair.
kicking rouges, 4 punting rouges. Only 6 total for the Argos.
So they've got the culture of the Cleveland Browns, not a lot of rouges, and Chad Kelly, their allegedly offending starting quarterback.
So Swag Kelly, affectionately.
He
Do not
missed
check
most
the trunk of his vehicle.
Right, of course, as you guys would all know, and that's why he's not anywhere, even though he should be in Cleveland, with their 6 quarterbacks they have in camp. He also missed most of camp with an ingrown toenail. Now, I can tell you.
He's also recovering from a broken leg.
But the ingrown toenail. Okay, listen, I once had an ingrown toenail removed, and I was curling the next week. And I am not a tough man.
John Fraser,
true,
tougher than the Marines.
Maybe the Marine.
The most Canadian moment, and I'm sorry that this is not the only time that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are on the receiving end of the most Canadian football moment.
I saw this and I hate you a little, Joey.
I
hate you.
I have the Toronto Winnipeg game from 2010. This was still when they were divisional rivals, if you can imagine.
Wait.
Division legends, Winnipeg.
Must have been a great year in the CFL already. That's 2 2010 highlights.
It actually, you know what it was? It was a chaos year.
These were like 2 weeks apart too, and I think there's another 2010 one later. So this one is I'll present this one as well. It's just
hold
a
up
short one.
before we get to that, Joey. Who should we be looking out on the Red Blacks? Because Nick Arbuckle is their guy, right?
Nick Arbuckle.
No, we're on the Argos, right?
On the Argos.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got the wrong.
We did not go to. And you didn't say it right either. You got to say Red Blacks.
Listener, you heard it first. Jordan does not care about the Argos.
Oh, not.
Hey, no. Listen, this is 2 years in a row. I've come on here and said, don't cheer for the Argos. Don't pay attention to them. They all suck. And I just see that Jordan's bought in. So Jordan,
moved on. He's like,
there we go.
He's like, we mentioned them. It's fine. Go.
And this is tough for John because Ryan Dinwiddie's piercing blue eyes are always there on the sideline.
Oh,
so
boys,
it's hard for him to slander his boy.
It really is. I've had a legitimate man crush on Ryan Dinwiddie. I don't know if I mentioned it in the pod last year, but I actually have a Ryan Dinwiddie Winnipeg Blue Bombers jersey.
For both good and bad reasons, the Argos could be considered the heels of the CFL. So with this play here, it is right before halftime. I think 2 seconds left in the quarter. The Blue Bombers are doing a squib kick. It is a 1-point game, and they just punt the squib kick back at them. Gets a friendly bounce, and suddenly it's a tie game going into half.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Great CFL Rouge play right there. But that is like that's galaxy brain stuff if you're playing Canadian football, right?
God,
Yeah.
awesome.
Who squib kicked last year and was a really dumb decision?
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Was it at Edmonton again?
No, it was a BC player, I think.
Was it BC?
May have happened
Someone squib
times,
kicked
too.
and then they came back and of course gave up the field goal the other way to lose.
Yeah.
So,
Right, yes,
Yep.
yes.
bottom line, never squib kick.
Kick it deep all the time. Bangers only.
Unless you're actually going to onside it, then that's fine. But,
Right.
We can move on to the Ottawa Renegades now.
The Roughriders. The other Roughriders.
The Roughriders versus the Roughriders. Again,
That's
this
right.
is a league that used to have two teams named Roughriders.
And then as we mentioned in the CFL USA episode, there was supposed to be 3, and then they made San Antonio change
They
the
made
name.
San Antonio
That's
change.
right. Yes.
Should have had 3.
I mean, it's
Roughriders.
not like the SEC doesn't have 3 tigers. It's
or
fine.
Bulldogs, or it's just
This means more.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ottawa put the space between their names.
That's right. It's like the Wolfpack and Wolfpack.
That's right. Rough
Who are we?
Riders.
The Wildcats. Who are we going to beat? The Wildcats.
I like that in the French, Ottawa, you don't have to capitalize everything. It's the Rouge et Noir d'Ottawa. You don't have to capitalize.
And it sounds so much better in French, the Rouge et Noir.
It does.
They should have made that the name. It should have been the name was the Rouge et Noir.
I've been doing something on U Sports Canadian teams, and the Ver et Or, that just sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Way better than weird names.
Well,
Behold the Variour.
And that was
I was just thinking
that was the kind of thought when the Red Blacks came out, because Ottawa's very bilingual. Like between Ottawa, they basically border right on Quebec with Gatineau, and they thought, to win over the French fans from the Alouettes, they would name them the Rouge et Noir, right? So that was part of it, but it's just in Canadian, it's like Red Blacks,
the Red Blacks,
right? So you're right. It goes from they go from sexy and mysterious to that guy in your hometown bar at 2 a.m. that you haven't seen since you were 18 years old.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
no, it's fine. It just gave me flashbacks. It's fine.
So
There's a few moments there, apparently.
Really?
Why should we be excited about the Red Blacks?
Red Blacks.
Drew Brown.
Yeah.
If you want to talk actual football, Drew Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the guy's
he
legit.
He is, of course, Oklahoma State's Drew Brown. The one that got away from Winnipeg, he was Winnipeg's backup. They let him walk in free agency. He's been good. Joel and I can both attest that their coaching staff might be the most likable group of guys you'll ever see.
I'm going to tell you one person on the Red Blacks I really love.
Who's
and it's
that?
their kick returner, wide receiver, Khalil Pimpleton.
Pimpleton, yeah. He won't be returning kicks probably, but he's expected to be a big receiver for them this year, yeah.
But he was a huge wide receiver threat for Central Michigan. Just a highlight reel throughout Maction. He had a bunch of kick returns last year for the Red Blacks. And he is electric. And you give him the wider field and the crossing routes and the slot.
He's
movement.
expected to pop this year, no question.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, he's electric. Like I said, coaching staff's great, and of course the wood cookie, right? We discussed this last year.
I love the wood cookie. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I got to see a wood cookie in person at Northern Arizona, at the Lumberjacks, where they do the wood cookie after they score a touchdown, which was great. I got fresh cut wood, and it was crazy.
So you got.
I don't know if he's still there. I think he is.
Okay,
but on the upper south side, they also have shoe beer guy.
Ooh.
Yep.
So at one point in the game, he will pour a beer into his shoe and
doing a shoey. Hell yeah!
I'm originally from Ottawa, and I remember when I went back covering the Riders against the Red Blacks there for the first time, I was amazed by the atmosphere in that stadium because going to Ottawa Senators games, it was like a library in there.
Yeah.
You suddenly go to a Red Blacks game and everyone was having fun, and I'm like, what is this?
What the hell?
It's very different. And it was great. And one of the things that really got people going outside of, I don't know if they still do it, the North Side, South Side sucks chant. They used to go on forever, especially in the Rough Rider days. There's a weird rivalry between both set of stands over the years there. But yeah, it was Shoebeer guy, and yeah, people were having fun. It was a blast, and I was
the one thing about that stadium that we always like to talk about is I think I can't remember what side the stadium it is, cardinal directions wise, but one of the sidelines is the roof of the OHL PWHL arena, which is built into the football stadium.
Yeah. Now there's plans. They're going to eventually shut that down, and there's going to be the arena's going to be moved to the end zone, apparently, because that arena's 1 million years old and falling apart. But yeah, it is the hockey rink where the Ottawa Senators first started playing. The 67s play there. The Charge play there is basically under the football stadium.
One of our followers sent us a picture of his seats at the Charge game, where he was right by where the football seats overhang. So if he stood up to cheer, he just completely lost visual of the rink.
Oh, yeah. And that's also why, to get super niche, when the Briar was at the Ottawa Civic Center once, there was stuff that fell from the ceiling. And John and I's favorite all-time curler, Guy Hemmings from Quebec, later came out that day wearing a helmet.
Okay.
Just to make sure he didn't get hit.
I got to get in my Rouge stats for the Red Blacks. 2 kicking Rouges, 5 punt single Rouges, 7 total for the Red Blacks.
Rouges are low, but I can tell you, if you're looking for, especially if you're on the East Coast, you don't want to stay up late. I think this is your de facto.
Games, at least.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think this is kind of your de facto. They've got some stars from college. They got a great atmosphere, easy to travel to. It's Canada's capital. I would say if you haven't decided on a team, this might be a contender for you, to be entirely honest. And they should be on the upswing this year. Traditionally, they've been either really good or really bad. This year, it's parity in the CFL, and I think they have a chance to be good again.
Jordan and Commish, have you noticed how nice and polite I'm being? I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, you're great.
Notice how good I'm being, and not.
We're very proud of you, Joey.
Not cussing this terrible team out.
Hatred.
Shove it down, Joey.
There you go.
It's okay, Joey. You're doing a great
I keep it under control with Beth every week. You can do it too.
I get a cookie.
A wood cookie.
No.
Joey's like the only guy in here that would say no. If the Red Blacks shipped a wood cookie to any of us, we'd be like, even me as a Winnipeg fan, would be like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'll put it up in the cave down here. Joey would light it on fire.
It's good firewood.
And film it and put it online, yeah.
That's right.
Port Elgin. I'm chilling up at the cottage. The Ottawa play I have for them, this is another CFL thing. Ignore the fact that I included a game where Ottawa gets run out of the building. That's just a coincidence. This is the game where Ottawa goes deep in the rulebook. This is early in the Red Blacks history, 2014.
Oh, I was at this game.
Okay, coffin corner, 3rd and 3.
It's 32-0, and this happens?
Yep.
And then, he comes in and downs it.
Punt.
Nope, he's onside. That's the onside punt, baby. That's a touchdown.
Yep.
If you're behind the punter, when he kicks the ball, you can recover it.
Oh.
Yep. I was covering this game for local radio here at the time in Ottawa, and I was losing my mind in the press box at this moment because it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was great.
So
more teams need to do this.
This is the onside punt, but they recovered for a touchdown, but they're still down 32-6.
Yeah, Chris Paul hits Team 3 vibes, yes.
Beautiful. Perfect.
And it's funny, the next year, the tables basically turned because the Riders completely fell to shit, and Ottawa kicked the shit out of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and that ended the Corey Chamberlain era, which was also a very fun day in Ottawa. A lot of eventful stuff has happened in Ottawa for some reason.
And then we have...
They showed the onside punch on since you ran away. So
and then we have the last
the kids heard Barkley.
The last team in the East, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Commish?
Hamilton Tiger Cats, Joey's favorite team, because he lives in Hamilton. 2 kicking
That's
Rouges.
also not true.
2 kicking Rouges, 6 punt singles, and Rouges 8 total. Joey does not live in Hamilton, but he just roots for them. I'm just playing with him.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
If you don't ever want to be looked at as a bandwagon hopper, if you're one of those people that hate it, this is your team. I'm sorry. They haven't won.
What a polite way to say that this team is bad at football.
They're the only reason the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have 2 Grey Cups in the last 30 years. So
that's thank you for that, Hamilton Tiger Cats. Yeah, they are. I remember the Grey Cup, the 1999 Grey Cup, when I was very young. It was one of the first football games I watched and understood it. Hamilton against Calgary. And I'm like, Tiger Cats must be good. And then they just weren't after that. So the Fraser curse kicked in the day I started watching football.
But they're periodically very entertaining.
Oh, yes.
Like the one year Corey Chamberlain was their defensive coordinator. And like Henry Burris put up like 8,000 yards and they scored like 40 points a game and were somehow still in last place. And it's incredible.
Yeah, it is
impressive.
And now, like, there's some hope, right? Like, I feel like if you adopt them young, there's some hope. They spent a bunch of money this offseason trying to get better, right? They've become Winnipeg Light, signing 9 Blue Bombers in the offseason. And, of course, as mentioned earlier, another FCS starting quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yes.
Right?
Bo Levi Mitchell has not played a ton over the last couple of years. He's battled some injuries.
But yet was still a fringe MOP candidate last year.
Because he was so good when he did play.
Yes.
Yep.
Which was...
One thing I love about Hamilton Stadium, thank you, by the way, Commish Jordan, for sending me there for the Grey Cup when it was there a couple of years ago, is it is just in the middle. It's not even like downtown. It's in the middle of a residential area.
Yep.
Like
it's very Packers-ish. Yep.
I have ended up in people's backyards walking out of that games.
That's why I thought you lived there. You just like hopped the fence, and that's how you got to the Grey Cup.
This isn't where I parked my car. No,
I've walked through from like the 2 hotels in town at the time, at least, to Tim Hortons Field a couple of times, and it's an interesting walk that I necessarily wouldn't recommend at certain times of the day.
The Tiger Cats. I have to make an apology here to anyone who adopted them on my advice last year.
Yeah.
I believe I said the words, "The bad man is gone and all our problems will go away."
That was exactly what you said, yes.
And then they hired Chris Jones. Hey! Later. He's gone again, but you know.
with apologies to Orlando Steinauer, you sucked, but apparently you were doing fine because your replacements did 1 game worse somehow.
It is a classic mistake to think that killing the Wicked Witch will solve all of Oz's problems.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that basically the theme of Wicked?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
So maybe you know what? Maybe this year will be good. I was searching my brain there for a Wicked joke and couldn't find it. I haven't seen the musical.
You should watch the musical. It's good.
Right. That's all I know. The play I picked for the Tiger Cats is also an onside punt, because why not?
Of course.
Absolutely.
There hasn't been a lot of joy in Tigerville, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, Joey. I'm sorry, Joey. I'm trying not to dunk on them, but like
I no longer feel bad about including Winnipeg on the receiving end of a lot of these plays.
Yeah. No, I saw what you picked for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here coming up a little bit. Changed my mood a little bit, Mr. Joey.
This is still pretty early in the game, if I recall correctly. This is a different kind of onside punt than the REDBLACKS did, because this is just like a little pooch to the 30, and this play doesn't work if the entirety of the Argonauts don't forget the rules.
Yeah, let's say this looks like just a rule forgetting by the entire Argonauts team.
And this is one thing that's great in the CFL is because you have to have a certain amount of Canadians on the field at any given time, and most of the field is going to be taken up by Americans. You do tend to get just all the
Especially
Americans don't know the Canadian rules.
Yeah. And you see that a lot of times on special teams. So to explain quickly, if you line up behind the punter before they kick the ball, you were considered onside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so welcome to 10 minutes ago, John. You weren't in the room, but it's okay.
Just in case
I had to let my dog out.
Because that's why I was telling you, they showed the one that the REDBLACKS pulled off on the Riders when they were down 32-0.
Okay, yes,
in 2014.
Yes. Well, there we go. Once again, Gasson's beaten me to it.
The question that I have here after watching this one that I probably should have had earlier, but I wasn't paying close enough attention. Does the CFL have down by contact rules like the NFL, or are you clearly you're not just down when you touch the ground like in college football, correct?
No,
correct.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, and the muff punt thing isn't a thing either. Like you just recovered and go.
Okay. Yeah, because that the jarring thing for me watching that play is him like rolling on the ground to catch the ball and then standing up and running away like that's a thing that you're allowed to do.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I got breaking news. Sorry.
Oh.
Beep, 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 beep.
Can you go me?
They win. They win.
UTSA has made it to the Super Regionals by turning those horns upside down, baby.
Hell
Horns
yeah!
down. Meet, baby.
Birds up.
Super Regionals, UTSA going to the Super Regionals. Horns down.
Horns down.
Let's go, San Antonio. Let's go.
Is this birds up? I think this is birds up.
This is birds up, yes.
Birds
it's
up.
kind of like
Birds
Hawaiian
up.
here.
That is all the time.
Yes.
Surf's up, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was birds up. I do that at work all the time.
Yeah, for UTSA, this is birds up.
Birds up.
Okay, fantastic.
This makes sense. That is one thing we need better access to here in Canada is college baseball and softball.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
You can find it on like TSN Plus, and that's kind of about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great thing about TSN Plus is they just kind of throw whatever ESPN has the rights to in a junk drawer on there. So like last year on American Thanksgiving, I was sitting here scrolling through TSN Plus, and I was like, why the fuck can I watch Alabama State, but I can't watch the Big 12?
It's wonderful. Coming from the guy that broadcasts games exclusively on TSN Plus.
I wasn't saying it was a bad thing. I watched the shit out of the Tuskegee Classic.
Oh, dude, I'm at a point now where my kids are constantly either on my PS5 or on YouTube or whatever. And I have a 2 TV setup in my basement. So they'll be watching whatever they want on my big TV, and on my small TV, I will have whatever random stuff TSN Plus has on because it's just on a streaming box. So that has become like, but Gas is right. Like, I want more college baseball, more college softball here in Canada.
My favorite thing about TSN Plus, if you look, and this is for Brigit also, if you look at the if you scroll to a game where they don't have it categorized as like hockey or baseball or football, it just shows like the generic like TSN Sports, like this is what it could be. And do you know who the face of that is, Brigit? Lance Stroll.
Let's go! When you least expect him.
Yeah.
Let's do our
feel better, King.
Let's do our ad read now real fast. Join our Beehive. This is where our newsletter is.
Beehive.
Beehive. BEEHIIV. Check out our link tree. Join our Discord. $5 a month. Get access to our Patreon and our special podcast behind the paywall. We have our merch store, sickoscommittee.org. Our In This House gear is back up, and I'm working on getting it stretched out for a flag so it'll look even better.
Yeah.
We have our YouTube, our Instagram, our Twitch. Shout out Message Board Geniuses podcast. They go the places we refuse to go. And as always, for the softest, comfiest, officially licensed collegiate apparel, choose Home Field Apparel. Offer code yes, ha ha ha, yes, 3 ha's for 15% off your first order.
Just on the Beehive coming out on Monday. We talk about horns down again on Monday for an NCAA record of the most pick sixes in one game.
Oh, I know that one. Yep.
You know that game. That's why I was like, I think Jordan knows this record.
It's a Houston game, right?
It is a Houston game. Yes, it is. Which they had 31 unanswered points in the fourth quarter with 3 pick sixes.
Yeah, it was. That is. I
found coast to coast play, like Coast Soap Player of the Week was the guy that had 3 pick sixes for Houston because he went coast to coast with a 97-yard pick six.
That is also I think the most interceptions by a player in a game.
Most pick sixes by a player in a game. Yes.
Yep. God, that one.
That one.
That is a Nexus Point game where it's part of so many records, and it all comes back to one. It was like 1990 or something. It was
1987.
87. One game.
There was another one in 92 that was weird too.
It was, but that was like in the fucking Astrodome, under the lights. Just oh god, that one.
It was
game.
a mess.
Okay, we are back talking CFL. We are on to the West, and we are on to Winnipeg.
Oh, John's favorite team.
Get it, John.
Let's do.
My
hold
team.
on. Let me give you the Rouge stats.
Yes, start it.
4 kicking Rouges, no punting Rouges. What the hell? Only 4 overall.
That's because we had a kicker that knows how to. And again, it's funny. I love the Rouge. I am Rouge for life, but typically it can be a sign of bad strategy or bad punting, right?
Yep.
typically, if you cough and
there are strategic opportunities where the point will help you, but not always. Yeah.
Exactly, especially typically not on punts. But that's too nitty gritty here. Again, why to cheer for Winnipeg? We've been really good of late.
If you want to be a bandwagon jumper and you like cheering for teams that always win and lose in the biggest game, then yeah, absolutely.
Like I said it earlier.
We're all getting old, and yeah.
That's right.
You are the Pittsburgh Penguins.
We are.
Yes.
Ooh, it's going to get rough in Winnipeg in a couple of years.
Oh, it's going to be really bad. Thankfully, our hockey team's good again. And again, as I mentioned, they've gone from the Pats to the Bills. Keep making it and keep losing it. Zach Collaros is still there. I know I've expressed my thoughts several times on that he is the most...
I will say this. A reason to cheer for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is Brady Oliveira and his love of dogs.
Yes, 100%.
This guy travels the world rescuing dogs.
Is that the running back, right?
Yeah.
He's an absolute cannonball of a man.
He is you can't tackle this dude at all.
No,
but they don't run him enough. But it's weird because you only got like 2 downs to run, and if you use like a run and it doesn't work, you're like, okay, what am I doing here? I got to pass.
But Brady's so good, you could just keep running him instead of just letting Zach figure it out. And that's what they keep talking about. Well, we got to let Zach figure it out, right? And
I will say they were
which is what you want out of a $600,000 quarterback.
They were theoretically a quarterback with a functional right hand away from the Grey Cup last year. However, he also had he threw 4 picks, and one of them was before he cut his hand. So
and he hasn't been good in any playoff game ever. And I have gone to the wall.
That's not fair. He was good in the West Final last year.
Right. So one game out of his entire playoff career. Yeah. So again, this is a guy that makes too much money, that has led the Bombers to success, yes, but I think he's a product of the team. I don't think the team's a product of him. And I've never understood why he's so Teflon. His drug test shenanigans this offseason, where he came out and said he's been suspended for 1 game for just disappearing from the drug test people, right?
And this John Bones Jones hiding under the ring.
Well, that's basically it. I mean,
did he just go Buster Bluth? Like, what happened here?
He did. Yes,
we don't really know the full story.
Great reference, by the way.
Thank you.
Great reference. He just didn't answer his phone, didn't answer his emails. I've heard from some sources they went as far as contacting his wife, and this is a guy that's been tested before, so it has this this stench to it, and yet nobody here. And again, there's about 4 of us here in Canadian media these days. One of them living in Florida. That just, shucks, he ignored an unknown number, which, I mean, who doesn't? But you don't ignore the unknown number. You don't ignore the email, the text, phone call. At least give us some bullshit like you were on a fishing trip. There's not a person in the world that's going to go, I was on a fishing trip with the boys, didn't have my cell phone on, whatever, nobody's good. But to come out and basically say, yeah, I willfully ignored the calls of the drug testers, shucks, everybody still loves me, and not be questioned on it is just, it's remarkable to me, right?
And now we have been doxxed by the Taylor Swift fans. Thank you, John.
I'm about to say, if you are a
oh my God, we got the Swifties on us now. Oh God,
if you're a Swiftie,
I'm sorry.
This is the team for you because they are Zach and Taylor are BFFs. We're seeing it at the Super Bowl together. Was it the Super Bowl? No, it was a playoff game.
It was the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
Coming up next on Canadian First Take,
he was in the background.
And I honestly think that he's going to miss a game when Taysway and Kelsey get married, and everybody's going to be like, shucks, he was just off being a groomsman. Like,
I mean, I feel like everybody would be fine with that though, like versus doing the Fernando Alonso. If I was on my yacht, like I was just not here. Like,
fair. No, I'm with you. Like, if you told me that you were at a secret, I mean, if it turns out he was at a secret wedding for Taysway and Kelsey, I will take all of this back. I will walk all of it back. But like. Now, again, as much as I harp on Zach, my favorite player and the favorite player you should all love is Bombers kicker Sergio Castillo. As Joel mentioned, absolutely,
Sergio.
Joel does that so.
He's got the it's the SNL skit with the saxophone.
Yeah, we play the GIF every time online whenever he makes a kick. It's a thing. It's a thing on CFL Twitter for him.
One of my favorite GIFs ever. But he genuinely, like, Brady's out there saving dogs in the offseason, being the best player. Sergio, if it's like, and I'm going to say
human being you will ever meet.
I love Sergio for this fact only. is that he went to West Texas A&M, which is 22 miles away from the 72-ounce steak challenge in Amarillo, Texas.
And you know what? Sergio's the kind of guy that if you told him,
he'd ask him if he'd done it.
He probably has.
You gotta ask, right? You gotta ask him.
And I don't want to take credit for it because ours podcast was the first one he went on, but everybody saw he's got such a big personality and he's kind of been everywhere on social media since then. And I love to see it for the guy. Love the guy.
And at every Grey Cup week, there is the media day. It's like the NFL one, but far less glitzy and glamorous. They're basically all in a hotel convention room, sitting around waiting to talk to the media. And so they have these different booths set up. They're all generally fairly small, but each room has like a big space for like the marquee player available. At last year's Grey Cup, Sergio Castillo was probably the only kicker in the history of any of these kinds of events to get the marquee spot, because everyone knows they're going to be talking to this guy, and they're going to be talking to him for a while.
Yeah, and then there's Liram Hajralahu, the greatest active athlete from Yugoslavia.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to butcher his name once because it's fun.
That's fair.
Oh, sorry.
It runs on kerosene.
He runs on kerosene. Put it in 8.
No, put it in 8. Gas, was it last year's Grey Cup or was it the one before that you were at one of these media days and Sergio was just like sitting by himself and you grabbed him for like a great 10 minutes?
That was last year.
Right. So
that was last year when he was in, like, he had the huge booth, but no one had come up to him yet. And yeah, so I guess I was waiting in line a bit, actually. Yeah, we shot the shit just for 10 minutes. And funny enough, at the game on Friday between the Riders and the Bombers, Jamie and I of the CJME Green Zone was talking about how the best interview he's ever done, and recorded none of it, was just talking to Sergio before that.
He's your guy. He's likable. Yeah. He's a kicker. And week 1 starter.
The only football player we've actually had on our podcast.
Yes, wow. Yes. We've had fellow broadcasters. We made a rule when we started this because we didn't want a bunch of cliched answers and reserved guys. We said we're only going to have the two of us, broadcasters occasionally, as the Riders have apparently gone through 4 different play-by-play guys since we started this. But when we had a chance to meet up with Sergio, it was like, of course, and it was awesome. So also, Chris Strevler will be the starting quarterback in week 1 from FCS South Dakota.
Chris Strevler, who you may have mentioned from the hottest picture of a football player of all time.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
And you know exactly which picture I'm talking about.
Fur coat, no tarp. So
yep.
That is my Blue Bombers glazing while still slightly hating on Zach Collaros. If you hate me taking this space up once a year, cheer for anybody else.
So, to John's dismay, the play I picked, I
thought we were friends.
This is actually, and I will say,
this
isn't just me dunking on Winnipeg. This brings up another thing I love about the CFL is, you know how France French and Quebec French are basically different languages that just have the same origin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The CFL and the NFL are the same language or the same origin that have sprung off into different languages. See if you can spot the problem here.
My friend, you're not going anywhere. Whitehead is back for Haggerty. Last blow, third.
Oh, God. That's a block.
And Winnipeg recovers the ball.
Oh, this.
Now what? Now here's a trivia question.
Flag.
Why does Toronto get a first down out of this?
Why?
I'll run that play back again.
What is it? Not even down.
That is a loose ball foul.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yep.
He pushed him out of the way.
He did.
The back.
Yep.
Oh my God!
This was a third down. This was a punt.
No.
Toronto had already conceded possession, and because of a basketball foul, Toronto gets first down.
Go Pacers.
Yep.
That's wild.
And we'll call that something of our own invention. No one's ever done this before. That was the Sickos Committee turning point of the game.
Yes, because Zach banged up his finger shortly after that, and I deleted everything in my beer fridge. I had planned to work the next day. I think it was shortly after that play of the Zach finger injury. I texted my boss and just said, "I'm not coming in tomorrow."
That's fair. That game gave me vibes. I had to turn it off.
Oh, it was awful. He got it. He fully understood.
Yeah. BC Lions.
We are on to the BC Lions.
Yeah.
Commish?
All right. So last year the BC Lions had 50 Cent. This year the BC Lions have Snoop Dogg to open their season. which I mean, again, sure. But they have
Snoop
two
Dogg will go
kicking rouges.
anywhere for like a jersey and like
as long as the check clears.
As long as the check clears, Snoop Dogg will go anywhere. That's kind of like the
Honestly,
Shaq, I think.
Snoop seems like he's having a great time. I would do that too if I was him.
Oh, hell
Like,
yeah.
you're gonna pay me to go do this thing, and it's like a fun thing.
I'm going to
Sure.
British Columbia. Sure, that's great. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I will.
Well, and
I will,
BC before it was legal, it was like quasi-legal in BC, so it's very much ingrained in the culture of Snoop Dogg, if you will.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Yep.
So
Shut up, Pigeon Park.
That's right. So let's give you some Rouge stats for BC. The BC Lions, Oregon State colors. They had two kicking rouges, four punt singles rouges, 6 total. So not really many. There's a few.
Again, a low rouge count, but I feel like if you're coming up from the U.S. to visit a Canadian city, Vancouver's probably going to be on your list. It is beautiful.
I will say this too. I love BC Stadium. These don't count in the stats, but sometimes a punt hits the center of the speakers.
Yeah. It does, yes.
Yes.
What was the name of the
This
referee?
This is like Jerry World.
Ben Major.
Ben Major.
That's right, Ben Major.
Ben Major. Ben Major got 2 of them, and one other guy got the other one, so he referenced Ben.
Yes, it was great.
Nothing I could say that Ben hasn't already said. Just replay the down.
Just replay it now. Yeah, it's perfect. So it's like Jerry World's scoreboard is just like a little bit too low.
It's because it's a soccer stadium. It's incredible.
Yes.
They're playing in an indoor soccer stadium.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. Like it never really happened until last year. And if you talk to some of the other punters around the league, they say it's a non-issue for them. The guy they had last year just kicks too high. It's actually the problem.
Yes, he's got too much hang time. Too much hang time.
Because they've been playing in BC Place post renovation. I think the renovation was in 2011 is when they reopened it.
Was after the Olympics, yeah.
Yes, and it has like a retract. Yes, and it has a retractable roof. It's actually a beautiful stadium.
It's really pretty. Yeah.
Right. I was there
the
for
only CFL stadium that's in an EA Sports game.
Oh, really?
It's in FC 25. It's
really? I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
For the Whitecaps, probably, right?
By the way, the Whitecaps lost the CONCACAF Champions Cup final 5-0 tonight to Cruz Azul.
Which is great.
Oh, yeah.
So they channeled Inter Milan. Okay, perfect.
So the Mexican team they played had championship shirts for sale before the game.
They printed those the second Vancouver beat Miami in the semifinal. I guarantee you.
Yeah, the second they didn't have to see Messi, and again, MLS is like 27th tier soccer.
It's not even that. It's Vancouver doesn't even know how they got this far. They're not an MLS team in this tournament. That's the thing. They're not representing MLS. They're representing the Canadian Soccer Championship.
That's
my goodness.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Oof.
That is yikes. That is like that's like the US flag football quarterback being QB1 at the Olympics here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
BC, fun, great place to visit. Nathan Rourke looks like he's back, which is great. That guy had a little journey in the NFL where he had about 12 different playbooks on 8 different coaches. Canadian made star. And again, for anybody on the West Coast, or anybody that loves like Rainbow Warriors football that happens in the middle of the night, there are BC Lion games that happen in the middle of the night. To me, that is your perfect nightcap.
They do it once a year, pretty much. It's like Saturday night. They're doing a 8 p.m. local kickoff against the furthest team they can find from the East.
Yes. So
to really try and fuck
always throttle them.
So sometimes, like you'll be like, "Hey, man, why don't we have like a Hawaii test?" There may be a BC Lions CFL game after dark on like a Saturday. It'll definitely be on CFL Plus, if not CBSSN. But you could watch all of those on like all you got to do is give them an email and you can stream.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free.
100%.
It's amazing. It's awesome.
Unless you're in Canada, then you need to subscribe to TSN, which again is hilarious.
Most of our audience is in America. Some I think we have like what?
No, we have like 3 or 4% Canadian listeners.
Okay.
We used to have a VPN deal, and we would often say, if you want to watch the Pac-12, you're now in Canada. If you want to watch Pac-12,
Did NordVPN
watch a lot of Pac-12 on YouTube.
Well, I will admit.
Shout out to our Moldovan people, who I think are probably mostly people who forgot to turn their VPN off after us encouraging them to set their VPN to Moldova.
Yes, that's fair. And we only have about 7 listeners. One's my mom, the other's my grandma. So that we're not going to give you the big bump here that you get from other people. Like my wife doesn't. Neither of our wives listen.
No,
It's okay. My husband doesn't.
Obnoxiously
listen
Pit Boyfriend does not listen to this show.
It is my mom and my grandma, affectionately known as my Grammy. So, but I can say, watch the BC games late at night. Sometimes they bleed into a Rainbow Warriors game. So if you want to just keep an all-day football marathon, late in the season when CFB's up, you can watch the Lions, you can watch the Rainbow Warriors. It's great, but we do, as much as it sucks that we don't have a CFL streaming service here in Canada, it is so easy to watch the NFL here and college football. It is just amazing. There's no restriction, right? So set your VPN to Canada or just move here. Bedroom behind me can be temporarily rented. You just got to kick my son out.
I've been looking at the Canadian Atlantic relocation program. Is Prince Edward Island nice?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay. Maybe I gotta do it. I mean, I've been leaning towards Halifax, but I
was going to say, Commish, you could tap into your Cajun roots there.
Ooh, in Halifax,
you could. 100% you could in Halifax.
Okay.
Right?
No, it's true. My mother-in-law has her
Canadian
her dad was
crawfish.
Quebecois, so she got her Canadian passport.
And
my buddy just got his.
Just don't go to New Brunswick.
Yeah,
New Brunswick. They're not Cajun.
Brunswick.
They're Chiac. That's different, and that's a different language.
Yeah,
and it's the dumpiest province in Canada.
Yeah.
Apologies to our friends in Moncton who just lost in the Memorial Cup semifinal.
Okay. That's right. But definitely like Halifax, and plus Halifax, they love their sports there. You got the Thunderbirds of the NLL and the Major Junior Mooseheads, both like
the Wanderers of the Canadian Premier League.
Oh yeah, that
definitely get Halifax.
The reason there's not a CFL team there.
Gotta get there.
The play I picked for the BC Lions is not a play. If you know a second thing about the CFL, you remember Angelo Mosca and Joe Cap. Angelo Mosca,
yes.
Angelo Mosca went on to be a WWF wrestler. Joe Cap is the only person who's ever been traded from the CFL to the NFL. The BC Lions traded him to the Minnesota Vikings. Before all that, though, Angelo Mosca had maybe a late hit on Joe Cap's teammate, the quarterback for the BC Lions, Angelo Mosca of my Hamilton Tiger Cats. And so as a bit, and John, we mentioned this on the show last year when we had you on.
Yes.
As a bit, and I forget which comedian this is, but he used to be on CBC all the time. They had both of them up on stage, and they had Joe Cap offer the olive branch to Angelo Mosca.
Yes.
And they, as a bit, they gave him a literal olive branch, and this is what happened. So here's Angelo Mosca on a cane, it should be noted, coming up on stage. And there's Joe Cap. Angelo Mosca says, "Shove it up your ass."
Hell yeah.
So Joe Cap puts the olive branch in his face.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
World star.
I assume that they're just going, "I'm not your buddy, pal. I'm not your pal, guy.
Right?
I'm not your friend, guy."
Rest in power.
This was during the 2011 Grey Cup in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. They did this as a bit during the CFL Awards.
That's amazing.
That's amazing commitment to the bit.
Oh yeah. I was there.
Always in kayfabe, man.
Angelo Mosca, man. King Kong Mosca.
But one time you can get worked into a shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Cap was a jabroni mark in this moment. The thing with that also is you can hear the crowd in that video, and it takes them a second to realize this isn't a joke anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Like laughter just slowly dies down, and then in the back you hear one guy still cackling as Angelo Mosca hits the
dirt. He should. As he should.
People. Yeah. What else is he supposed to do?
And then Joe Cap, after he's punched Angelo Mosca in the face, turns to the crowd and indignantly yells, "Sportsmanship!" Which is a top tier funny word to yell.
Oh, that's good.
That was the BC Lions play I picked. The other one I had was Adam Rita, who was the head coach at the time. After another late hit, this was against the Blue Bombers, I think, where Jeff Reinbold was their head coach. Late hit on like a kneel down, I think. And during the handshakes, so Reinbold and Rita, who are the head coaches, they meet in the middle for the handshake. And Rita just two-hand shoves Reinbold instead of the handshake, which causes a brawl. The second brawl I've talked about here. I was going to mention Rocket Ismail earlier in the Argos section, but I got distracted, who, after starting a brawl in a CFL game, then went on public access TV to apologize. He wasn't invited. He just showed up and said, I grabbed a mic and said, City TV used to have a show called Speaker's Corner where anyone could just say something into a mic. And he just showed up and went like, hey, I'm sorry. I started that brawl.
Okay, we're on to the...
Like public apologies for Canadians. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
We are on to the Calgary Stampeders. Commish?
The Stamps. One kicking rouge, which is kind of like, hey man, what's going on here? Is the kicker good? Just makes everything? Or they don't kick enough?
No, they just couldn't get close to the end zone.
Couldn't get close enough.
No.
7 punt singles for 8 total rouges for the Stamps.
Yeah, if you hate yourself, this is who you cheer for.
Yep.
I will say.
Oh my god! Hold on. We got a follower.
Both John and I have.
We have a follower. I want to give a shout out to Ken Childs, who is a Stamps fan.
Oh, so, poor Kenny.
Poor Ken Childs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will say, the one glimmer of hope for any sort of potential of excitement in Calgary is Vernon Adams Jr. John and I both love the guy. He is fun and he's chaos on the field, both good and bad, and that's why we appreciate him.
Yes. They have the worst stadium ever. They still have the world's fastest cow.
World's fastest cow?
He wasn't at the preseason game, apparently.
What? If they've punted the world's fastest cow, you have no reason to cheer for this team. So talking amongst CFL circles, we honestly don't know where to place 1 to 8 in this league this year. Mm-hmm. You know, your argument 1 to 8, you could make an argument for every one of those 8 teams to win the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
Except for Calgary.
Oh,
yeah, pretty much.
Folks, you heard it here first. Bets in for Calgary to win the Grey Cup.
The Fraser curse is legit.
Who let Ryan Ballin down
here?
Would
you like to lose your money? Here you go.
Right? And that's what I mean. Like, it's just like it's.
If they're going to be good, it means Vernon Adams Jr. threw for like 7,000 yards, which means Reggie Begelton caught like 3,000 yards, and we're talking about 2 of the greatest seasons in the history of professional football.
That's what it's going to take. But their head coach, who they keep bringing back, is Dave Dickinson, who was good.
He turfed his 2 coordinators for significant downgrades.
Yes. So the coaching staff has gotten worse. The team is not very good. It is like the only reason to watch them is Vernon Adams Jr. Just like when he was in Oregon, it is chaos. It is awesome. But not the team. I mean, if you want to be like Drake and start at the bottom,
yeah. If you really don't want to look like a bandwagon jumper, Calgary is the spot to go. Yep. You don't even have to watch the games because they won't matter.
It's true. At least it's a little different. Like you can jump on the Hamilton bandwagon because they haven't won since '99, but they'll be good. Ideally this year. Calgary's just got to be, and the funny thing with Calgary is I don't know how you can play boring football in the CFL, but they just found a way to do it the last 3 years.
Dave loves it. Dave loves his 1 yard outs, man.
Oh my goodness.
Why? You have so much room to play with. Why would you do that?
I mean, part of it is Jake Mayer being bad, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah.
My play I picked for the Stampeders, and again, I'm sorry to Stampeders fans, this is a negative one. But I had to make it up to John. This is a positive Blue Bombers one.
I know, I love this moment.
This is Kelly Malvo, who was a cornerback, I think. I can't remember if it was a cornerback or a safety for the Stampeders against the Blue Bombers. And here is so throw to the end zone, contested catch. Malvo wrestles it out. The refs are talking it over.
Oh,
little bit of a scrum going on. Malvo went flying. He's over there. And he pulls out a Sharpie to sign the ball.
That's beautiful.
Why did he have a Sharpie on him in the first
Was
place?
this around Terrell Owens' Sharpie for the Cowboys?
This was the week. I believe this is the week after. I can correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the week after, like the season after. But like he signs the ball, and this is a long video. I'll spoil it for you. This is called a touchdown for Winnipeg.
Possession in the end zone.
He signed the ball for the other team's touchdown.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's like the ultimate DB move. Who like celebrate overthrows. I'm gonna sign this ball that I just gave up a touchdown on.
Yeah.
the defensive back, not even the wide receiver, the defensive back, amazing.
Yeah. Edmonton Elks. I hope they keep that name. The Edmonton Elks is a cool name. Like even without the history, the Elks is just a cool name.
All right. Okay. So the Edmonton Elks are your Rouge Kings of the CFL. Last year, Boris Bede, which again,
my goat,
the Rouge.
He's
goat,
an adventure. He is
Rouge,
an adventure.
Like he has like the strongest leg. So think of Sebastian Janikowski, just an incredible leg. Accuracy.
He's the Rex Grossman of kickers.
Not necessarily there.
That's a sentence.
What was
the Rex Grossman of kickers?
The Rex Grossman of kickers.
Lovely. Got a cannon for a leg. Boris Bede, 10 kicking rouges. Also the Elks last year, 15 punt singles and rouges. Your rouge leader of the CFL by far. Like
fuck it, uprights down there somewhere.
Like fuck it.
This must be a Chris Jones theory because they did that a lot with the Riders and he's the head coach here too.
Their punter, Josh Julian, who had 15 punt singles along with the walk-off rouge to end the season for the Elks, is gone. He is signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the NFL. So I'm going to say that the walk-off rouge punt got him the job in the NFL.
I would agree.
It was the last pick he ever made.
That's right. Boris Bede is back. So your sicko's favorite rouge machine is back on the Elks.
If we don't get votes for Boris Bede in our preseason sickos poll this year, we're doing something wrong.
We need more votes for Boris Bede.
Boris Bede is electable if you vote for him.
Like, where did Boris Bede go to school? Is he Canadian the whole time?
He went to Laval.
Okay,
so
he's been in Canada,
so he never had to work
the whole
there.
time, as though it were a secret.
Okay.
Well,
it said he went to
French
Tiffin.
lineage, doesn't he?
It said he went to Tiffin,
and then he transferred to Laval.
And then he transferred to Laval. So he went to Tiffin.
He was briefly not Canadian then.
Briefly not Canadian. He's from France.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's initially from France. Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. And
immigrants taking our jobs. Once again.
And in fairness, if you're just picking on rouges, there's your team, right? By a mile, Bede is back.
And the fun part was Julian had all those rouges and still led net yardage by a mile.
Yeah, his
like he was so good and scored a million rouges. It's insane.
I think his punt average was the highest. It was 50 something yards of 56 yards a punt.
He legitimately should have been the most outstanding special teams player last year. He was robbed.
I mean, incredible punting performance, but he's now with the Buccaneers, which I mean.
He's going to invent the rouge there. They're going to be like, how did he score 1 point? I don't know. He just did it.
I had...
And they'll be wearing the orange jerseys when they do it. Yep.
I had questions for Edmonton's global draft. They didn't draft a punter. Everybody else did. Edmonton didn't do that in the global draft.
You have paid far more attention to the global draft than I have.
We love the global draft.
There was an Idaho State punter drafted. 4.
You and 3 Down Nations JC Abbott. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, you're drafting punters, and I'm like, I'm all ears.
Yep. Here's our angle for the global draft. If there's one thing we love here at the Sickos Committee, it's playful misinformation. And what we could do with the global draft was we could put out a tweet that just said, punter drafted first overall in draft.
Yes.
And then
it's correct. Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
It's technically correct.
Right.
That's right. That's why we're there.
Okay, and now I get it. Now I think Commish to come on the 3 down Three Down Nation's podcast to break down the global draft because you pay more attention to it than anybody at north of the border. So
honestly, it's fascinating to me, and I'm like, Idaho State's punter went fourth. I'm like, okay, all right,
because he's Irish.
And then I was like, okay, they drafted James Burnham. I'm like, the Saints kind of signed him as an undrafted free agent. I'm like, okay, I'm like, I know these punter stats, and I'm like, Ray Guy Award, the punter award. Please give me a vote because I'm paying attention to punters.
Right?
We've got to vote in everything but the Heisman and the Ray Guy.
One
of those two makes us mad.
But the Ray Guy and the Heisman Award. I don't want the Heisman Award. Let me vote for the punter of the year, man.
There's nobody that pays more attention to punters than you guys, and it's a damn shame that you I
swear,
We're going to get there. Tammany Hall style politics to get us a Ray Guy award vote.
I believe, and I will send you my little bit of intel on my side. But Edmonton ownership, they've got private ownership now. They used to be community owned. The downside, they really seem to like the old name, but the upside, they're invested. Super likable PA guy, a friend of our show. Graham Mossaman is their new public address announcer.
I believe they have the best play-by-play guy in the league too. Am I misremembering?
I'm not.
Morley's a great dude. Morley's a great dude. I don't know.
I would put him behind a couple guys. I would put him behind the new Riders guy, Dave Thomas, and
a
big part.
John, I'm gonna get you for our BHIV. We're gonna do play-by-play power rankings in the CFL.
Done. Okay. Yeah. Let me know when you want to do it. I'm 100% on board. I will tell you, I think Dave Thomas is the number one guy. That's not because he's a friend and I've worked with him. Derek Taylor, number 2, out of Winnipeg. Again, a friend. I've worked with him. I'm easily bought. And of course, another non-FBS starting quarterback, Trey Ford from the University of Waterloo.
This Trey Ford has been my guy since U Sports. I remember when he was coming out of Waterloo, I was in every freaking message board I was in, being like, "Well, he should go to the NFL draft easily. He's a 6th rounder." He's very good, and Edmonton just wouldn't start him. I was screaming, like, what are you doing?
Right. They've got Cody Fajardo as the backup, and I think that's a great fit for Cody. But no, let Trey Ford cook. They signed his brother, who was a great defensive back for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let the Ford show go on in Edmonton. I would say they're more likable now than they have been for a long time.
Yes.
It's just
mostly because Chris Jones is gone. Like, if we're being frank.
Yes.
That is the number one reason why they're infinitely more likable than they were a year ago.
Because I can tell you, not allegedly, I do know that Chris Jones has definitely sent you up text to not sports reporters, to news people at 1 a.m. here in Saskatoon.
Gross.
That's...
From gross, we are going to go to the prettiest thing in Canadian sports history.
Nice transition!
Incredible transition. Well done. Well done.
This CBC scorebug here
also
is
great.
The greatest scorebug in sports history, and I will fight anyone on that.
BBC was ahead of their times. Yep.
They were.
This is the 2005 Grey Cup. It is second down, and it is 2nd and 30.
Whoa. Not good.
2nd and 31. Thank you, CBC Graphic. So, and you remember, we go college rules overtime here, 3 downs. So, okay, going downfield, incomplete.
Oh, I remember this, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and Coach Machocha, sorry. Machocha, thank you. I fucked up 3 times. Thinks the game is over.
/ kind of president in Montreal now?
Wait, he got the downs? The head coach got the downs wrong?
The head coach, after and he was the play caller too, thought it was 3rd down. So thank God he didn't give up the play here. Great defensive play there by number 10 on Ben Cahoon.
And the retirement ceremony is still happening.
And he thinks he's won the Grey Cup.
Oh no! He puts
and nobody else is celebrating.
Nobody celebrating was like.
He's like, why am I alone? You can see it slowly dawn on him. It's great.
Yeah. Oh no!
Lucky for him, they were able to shut him down on the next play. I should show. I'll just describe it. Calvillo escapes a sack on the last play, but knows it's 3rd and 30, and with the season on the line, so he tries to punt it as he's being tackled, and just goes full flying mode, kicks it like a yard, and the game's over.
Ouch.
Which was the right call by him to actually attempt
Yes.
that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect.
Honorable mentions here for the Elks, because I had a hard time deciding. A personal favorite of mine, Kavis Reed's meltdown, where he's clearly like he was the head coach at the time. The Edmonton team set a record for most penalties in a game, I believe, and he's almost crying in the press conference, just repeating, "There has to be consequences. There has to be consequences," over and over, like practice level.
Wow.
Yep.
And the other one I wanted to go with, but I decided to keep it recent history because my memory is not that long. 1956 Grey Cup, where they ran out of football, so they called the game.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, somebody kicked one into the stands.
Wait, what?
No. They ran a ball into the end zone with like 2 seconds left. The game was over. Edmonton had won, but there was 2 seconds left, and then a fan rips the ball out of the player's hands and runs away, and like straight Leatherhead style.
Yeah.
And they ran out of footballs. There's like this delay where the refs are looking around like, what do we do? And there's a great moment where the 50s play-by-play commentator, because CFL fans, for like the numbers are smaller, but they're amazing archivists. This entire game is up on YouTube with play-by-play and great like 50s radio voice. Like, if anyone near Varsity Stadium happens to have a spare football, could you please bring it down to the field?
That's amazing.
This is all accurate. And the crowd was just like standing on the sidelines. Think courtside seats in a basketball game, but it's just like standing room only, but you're literally like in the way of the officials. And the guy just takes the ball and it's like, okay, I'm out of here. So,
bye now.
Great moment in CFL history. And Joey, applause for bringing that one up.
TSN interviewed the guy a couple years ago, and he still has the football, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
How would you not? That's like a family heirloom.
Yeah,
man.
He's getting buried with that thing.
Generation to generation.
Our final team tonight is the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
There you go. Adam. We've taught everybody how to say it.
Yeah.
We've done the opposite thing. Most CFL related podcasts always lead with the Riders to get like that audience built in right away. We've saved it to the end.
We're keeping them waiting. We made
always leave the people wanting more.
We made him listen to us talk about the Ottawa Renegades, and now they're here for the Roughriders.
That's right. And all seven of our listeners are waiting with bated breath.
That's right. The Roughriders, 3 kicking rouges, 3 punting rouges from Rutgers legend Adam Corsack,
who retired.
He was now retired.
Retired.
Yes, and like no fanfare with it, and like Joel and I both know the director of communications. She actually, before going to the Riders, would fill in for me on the podcast, and I was upset. How do you not have more love for Adam Corsack retiring? It
was a line at the bottom of a press release about something else.
Yes, and just boom, he's gone. No fanfare, nothing. So Adam Corsack is gone, and we really training camp's done. Final cuts are done. We don't really know who the punter is still.
I assume there's some roster moving coming around, and Joe Couch, the global, is going to end up on the active roster. That's my theory. But yeah, technically right now on the active roster, there is no punter, and as far as I know, Brett Lowther does not punt.
And you mentioned the global. That is one thing about CFL roster construction is there's 3 categories of players.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian, the American, and the global.
Yes. So in the global draft, the Roughriders drafted a linebacker from Georgia Tech in the first round, who was from Belgium. I'm not even going to try to say that name.
That's fair. I won't. I don't.
I'm not going to do it. And then they drafted a punter from Vanderbilt, Jesse Mirko, a Vandy punter. Which, is he still on the roster, though?
No.
Wow.
You've got Joe Couch as the global.
Joe Couch.
Great name, by the way.
Joe Couch, punter.
I don't know if he's related
to the coach, actually.
I don't know if he's related to legendary Browns QB quarterback coach.
Thank you. I was just like, wait, was it?
Not
Tim Couch.
Not Tim Couch.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He was the punter at Ouachita Baptist?
Ouachita Baptist. Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, my God. Yes.
So there you go. You've got a real sickos, obscure school, and a punter.
Oh.
You have
a quarterback from some school called Notre Dame. I don't know.
No, it's not that one.
Yeah, I've never heard of
That's
it.
no, that's a group of 5 school because they're not in a power conference.
Right.
They're independent. They're independent.
But actually, he did start his career
they're a
with
strong
the Penn
independent
West.
school that don't need no conference.
I mean, Harris did start with the Penn West Edinburgh Fighting Scots.
Hey, shout out to Edinburgh.
That's right.
But yeah, oh God. Thank you for reminding me that Penn West is a thing that exists now. Thanks, legislature. You did such a great job with the Pashy schools.
The Roughriders have a punter with the number 76.
Oh, that is a training camp number if I've ever seen one.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be like,
76 is my hockey number, and that shows you how good I was at hockey.
I honestly like, and I said this last year, and I know we kind of sold you on this, Commish, but like, if you want the perpetually tortured fan base, team that has lots of flashes of good, and honestly, the best stadium in the CFL. And
I mean, I love Mosaic. It's like I want to go. Like, I mean, I think Winnipeg Stadium's kind of close. Like
Mosaic is
Mosaic
like,
is like it is top notch.
Yeah.
Princess Auto Stadium is like Timu Mosaic Stadium.
Okay.
It really is. Yeah, Gas is on board with that. We've both been to both. We've both seen the inner workings of both. Mosaic Stadium is the perfect example of when you have government and private money all coming together to build just something incredible. Princess Auto Stadium is like, you got a government handout that was going to lose them millions of dollars, and they just said, yeah, whatever, we'll write off this loan, right? Like, Mosaic Stadium is like the ultimate luxury car you could buy, while Princess Auto Stadium is a 2010 Toyota Camry.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Available at Ends Toyota.
Exactly. Yeah, beat me to it, Gas. Thanks, buddy. Again, if you want to go to a game, and there's been a lot of noise about, attendance around the Riders and stuff, there's still a solid, 20 to 30 average. If there's a game that you could pick to go to see the passion and what Rider Nation is all about, go to the Labor Day Classic. I'm volunteering Joel's couch for you because I'm going to take the spare bedroom if you come up, Commish, or we can just spoon in his spare bedroom. But if you make it up for our Labor Day Classic, you will see the passion that this province has for its football team. You'll see the most gorgeous stadium in the Canadian Football League, and that is why it's an easy sell, right?
That's labor with a U, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
In the proper King's English now, I guess.
Yeah, the way it's
I'm still going to call it the Queen's English because
right.
There was that 3 hours where Canada forgot to update our constitution, say we had a king, so we were in a necrocracy. I will never forget that. There was There was 3 hours where the Queen was dead and we were still governed by the Queen.
Yes. I also had a whole bunch of paperwork that got screwed up with electric car rebates thanks to that. So I don't want to bring that up. But no, it is. Listen, if you're going to be a casual observer of the CFL, it's the Riders. I say this as a Bombers guy. I believe our fan base is just as passionate. But if you have a flagship franchise, it's the Riders. They win because of the stadium. Right, if you're going to come up for a game, it is Mosaic Stadium. It is come up to Regina. Saskatoon's a better city, but Regina's pretty okay. But yeah, that is the place if you want to be a CFL fan.
No love for Prince Albert.
Oh, don't get me started.
The third Saskatchewan city I can think of.
I was surprised you didn't go with Moose Jaw or Swift Current.
Well, Moose Jaw is actually kind of nice. So.
Moose Jaw's super nice, actually.
Yeah.
I love Moose Jaw, except their baseball team has the worst logo in pro sport. Your guys' beveling couldn't even fix it.
Wait, how do you have
Jaw.
a bad
What's the name of the
Moose
team?
Jaw?
The Moose Jaw Miller Express.
Oh God!
Boy.
Oh God!
That
so
is
bad.
the worst.
I'm in love. This is incredible.
I gotta
Why
bevel
do
it.
they look
Oh my
like
God,
Jiffy
please post
Lube?
this. I'm
I'm
scared.
beveling it.
What the fuck?
I'm
It
beveling
looks like even beveling couldn't save
I
this.
know it can't save it, but
What?
This
Oh
reminds
my
me
God.
of This reminds me of there's a
seriously,
semi-pro
this is a place
hockey
I should
team.
be able to drive in and get my oil changed in 20 minutes. I don't even get out of the car. They just jack the whole thing up, and I'm in there, and they're changing the oil, and I leave.
There's a
That's
semi-pro.
what this is. This is not a baseball team.
No, there's a semi-pro hockey team around here named the Milverton Four-Wheel Drives. That's similar vibes.
That's amazing.
But the logo's not as bad. The logo cannot be as bad as a Miller Express. I honestly think they look like a competitor to Dunder Mifflin. This is terrible. This is the worst logo in the league. So that is the first the Saskatchewan city that comes to mind. In fact, I've made it a running bit because we have the Saskatoon Berries here. If you want to see a great logo,
yes, I love them.
Sexier beveled. The Saskatoon Berries right there, but the Moose Jaw Miller Express have the worst logo in sports, hand down. End of story. I rest my case.
I love the Saskatoon Berries. He's so angry.
Honestly,
apparently the Berries are very good.
I love the fact that Regina is on the same highway as Lethbridge, Alberta, which we love. Lethbridge's flag, which is just ridiculous.
Shout out to Lethbridge, Alberta.
Shout out to Lethbridge, Alberta. It has the same flag level as Miller Express.
Yeah, the college basketball capital of Canada, Lethbridge, Alberta.
Yeah, Lethbridge,
Why
Alberta.
do they have a knockoff American
Canadian
flag as their flag?
Yeah,
it's so great.
That
How am I just discovering the flag of Lethbridge?
I discovered it live on a podcast.
Yeah,
it was a time.
John, I think the beveling saved it.
The beveled Lethbridge flag does genuinely look better.
I think the beveled Miller Express saved it.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
For parts of Alberta, this is very on brand. So,
yeah.
Miller Express sounds like the drive-through beer distributor.
Yes. Shout out to Erie, Pennsylvania.
I do want to take this moment also, having Googled Lethbridge, Alberta again, to inform everybody that per Google, the demonyms for people who reside in Lethbridge are Lethbridgian or Lethbian. Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
All the lesbians.
that'll go over well in parts of Alberta as well.
Yeah, right.
There you go. I just posted it on Blue Sky, John, if you want to check it out.
Oh, no. Okay, I gotta go look.
In the meantime, I will do the play I picked for Saskatchewan, and I didn't mean for this to happen, but it is another negative one. Just because I didn't, and here's the thing: it is a downgrade from the other negative one. I was going to pick how they lost the Grey Cup one year.
Does fix it.
It does.
So this is
everything.
This is Saskatchewan against Edmonton in 2006. Okay. Last play of the game. Zeros on the clock.
Oh no!
Back to end the game. No, he fumbled it off his ankle.
Oh wait, they got it back.
Oh
wait, he can't throw it forward, can he?
Nope.
Okay, there was a pitch.
But he can pitch it.
We're doing the pitchy woo woo.
Pitchy woo woo. Come on, go.
Cut one.
Let's go.
Cut again.
Oh no. Okay.
This is Mosaic Stadium in a less pretty year.
On the Molson logo, I love it already.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh, he's down the sideline. He's made it to the 15.
There are like 6 times.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Let's go.
No, he was upwind.
Oh
no! The three riders at the bottom of the screen going, "What the hell?" There were like 3 chances for the Riders to score on that play, and they just didn't.
They almost won pitchy woo woo.
Okay, that
it's the Riders' history in a nutshell.
This reminds me of the Saints in the River City Relay.
Yeah, the River City Relay,
where the Saints did that and they scored it, but then they missed the extra point to tie the game to send it to
Yes, I remember
Damn
that.
you, John Carney. Jim Henderson, rest in peace. The commentator.
honorable mention here that I didn't go with because it was too mean was the 13th man incident.
The 13th man.
Yeah.
Because there's 12 people on the field in the CFL.
Yep.
So,
Right.
A&M cannot sue you.
No, they accidentally had one too many on for what would have been a game-winning field goal miss.
Yeah.
Was it? Who was the kicker? Was it Beede?
No, it was
Duval. Yes,
Duval.
So Damon Duval misses a kick for Montreal that would have won the Grey Cup for Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan gets flagged for too many men. Duval gets a kick again and makes it.
The actual best moment of that is the shot TSN got of Paul Appelese destroying the offensive coordinator room.
Oh yeah.
He the first shot they had of him was him completely mooning the camera because he was so distraught. He just put his head on the ground.
Okay, folks, that is our CFL preview.
Wait, we got to give one shout out before we go.
Oh,
Okay.
Commish, hit it.
All right. We wanted to just say shout out to Shreveport, home of the undefeated NAIA baseball champions, 59-0.
That's wild.
Wow.
59-0. The Shreveport Pilots, the LSU Shreveport Pilots, become the second team in Louisiana that has won a national championship in the state of Idaho, along with ULM, who won the 1987 FCS championship in Pocatello. LSU Shreveport won it in Lewiston, Idaho. I don't know what the hell is going on, why Louisiana teams win national championships in Idaho, but they went ahead and they went 59-0.
That's insane.
I don't know how this happens in baseball. They say put them into the Sun Belt already. I don't, but like their baseball season, incredible. I think they won the game over Southeastern, which was a different, not Southeastern Louisiana, but like they've had wins where they beat teams like 42-4.
Unbelievable.
Love it.
And this
CFL
level,
score.
I honestly don't know. Crazy. I'm gonna run through.
And Shreveport is a CFL town. We must remember.
It is. Yep. 100%.
Yep.
Team 10 back. Bring the Pirates back to Shreveport.
Bring him back. Make him Team 10.
That's right. I'm gonna give you some College World Series updates real quick. Coastal Carolina is in the Super Regionals. Florida State's in the Super Regionals. Duke, West Virginia. Take me home to the Super Regionals. West Virginia is in. We mentioned UTSA is in. Number 1 overall seed Vandy eliminated by Wright State. Oregon knocked out in 2 games. They call that in the double elimination tourney 2 in barbecue. Because you lose 2 and you go to barbecue. Georgia knocked out 7 seed. Texas was also knocked out. I wanted to mention on these notes, I just added in because Oklahoma State walked off Georgia to eliminate them, but then Duke beat Oklahoma State on a walk-off. I have questions about baseball Pistol Pete. I don't know why he has the gun in the holster while he's trying to hit.
Yeah.
Weight distribution.
I mean, like he's got the leg up. You know, he can get the hips going with it. But like, you know, I don't know, man. You gotta is it for pitcher intimidation?
Listen, if I'm pitching to a man with a gun, I'm probably getting him meatballs down the middle. I don't want to come inside of that guy.
Like way outside on the other side. I'm walking him every time.
Intentional walk, Mr. Pete.
I'm pitching. Curveball is coming.
Yeah, you're not knuckleballing that guy.
Oh no.
I have some notes from the College Softball World Series. Apparently, something called Appendix G saved UCLA.
I love rules lawyering.
I love
Straight
that.
Up motorsports.
Where the girl didn't step on the plate, but then somebody told her to go step on it, and then they said they reviewed it for they're like Appendix G saves you, but then the Vols win it in 9 innings instead of 7. So it is UT versus UT in the college softball semifinals. So Tennessee versus Texas, and then it's Oklahoma versus Texas Tech, the final 4 of the Softball World Series.
Thanks so much, Joel. Thanks so much, John, for joining us. And we will see y'all on the other side.
See you. Thanks a bunch, guys.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Joel.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.